Like, I'm Air Force, so like, you know, there's all our offices are together. Like, literally, there's like Space Force dude right next to me. There's Marines, there's Navy, there's Coast Guard, and then there's like Air Force section. And I am sitting next to people from my organization, but I don't actually work in their duties. So they know that like I have the same badges as them and everything, and they're like, they know I'm with them, but I don't actually have any work interaction with any of my coworkers nearby. And so no one knows who I am, pretty much. So I'm able to get out of a lot of extra dumb work.
The only thing I got out of that whole story was that for some reason the Navy got shade, but not the Coast Guard. I don't know what all that's about, because I don't really know what the difference is. I thought the Coast Guard was just right above the mailmen, right?
Nave, there is a Coast Guard?
Yeah.
There is a difference between those two things?
See, I can't tell.
I'm just trying to knock this off
because
I'm not
as much as I possibly can.
No, I mean, I don't care about the Coast Guard or the Navy or the Marines. See, if anything, I think they should all be coalesced back into one massive super Navy. I don't know why the Marines get their own branch along with, the Coast Guard getting their own branch. Like, the Air Force used to be a part of the Army as well, specifically the Army Air Corps, but they broke off. And then
they use the blimps and shit.
Yeah, like the balloons. Hashtag relevant for the 2 years ago when that Chinese balloon got shot down over Iowa or whatever that was.
I just watched a 1 hour documentary about blimps, actually, and it was very fascinating. Do you know they used to they tried to dock them on top of skyscrapers?
How'd it go?
Bad. They were like, we're not doing this. Yeah, it's way too windy. Fucking stupid idea.
Oh, what was I watching? I don't remember what it was, but it was like they went up in a hot air balloon, and once you get up there, it's like there's really not a way to steer. So you just kind of go with the wind. And it's like, what happens if you go too far? And then it's like, then you went too far. Like
you go, oh no. And then you continue going.
Bad way to travel.
I don't know. I think you just drop sandbags, or what do you add sandbags?
No, well, you can't add sandbags. You have to let out air, right?
How? There's air all around it.
All right, we need to intro our guest in case this makes it in. And do our opening. Hello and welcome to Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. I'm your host, Philip, and I'm here with my co-partner, Nave. Each pod we play through a cooperative experience and relay to you, the listener, if this game is the creme de la creme of co-op or something better off playing solo. Hey, Nave.
Hey.
So, we have a guest this week.
Oh, that's not going to be funny for the listener.
No, I'm definitely going to edit out
for us, that one. No.
20 seconds of silence. Which is our guest, ASAP Weekly's very own. What do you go by now? Because I don't want to miss.
Real names, I can go by Robert. That's fine.
No, you don't have to.
No, I mean, I feel really silly using a fake internet name when you guys are using your real
We should
name.
Use fake internet names for this.
Oh my god, guys, have you seen that fucking meme? This very specific meme I just saw today of Hannah Montana turning into, you know what I mean? And it says whenever someone calls me by my internet name, and it's the girl in the Hannah Montana turning into Hannah Montana.
So stupid. All right, yeah, we're definitely going to use gamer names this time. So now playing the part of Philip, I will be Tuv.
Which one am I going to use? I have like a million of them.
I don't know. What sucks is that your normal one, or Army of Nave, has Nave in the title.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to call you guys Nave and Philip regardless, so just figure that out, you know?
But the listener, you're going to have to call me Guns versus Kittens whenever you reply to us.
And featuring Robert playing Lazero, or the other way around. Who is the Batman, and who is the Bruce Wayne?
Lazero, the birth name by God.
All right.
No, that's great. So, thank you for having me on again. I don't know what I did to deserve being back on the show, but I appreciate it. You know, I only do this for you guys, by the way. I don't go on any other podcasts. You know, I hear you guys and you're all like, yeah, I was on this podcast. You through the last couple of months, right? I'm like, nah, I got one podcast that I guest feature on, and this is it.
I mean, you're so good. You're starting to not appear on your own podcast. And I think that is the ultimate podcaster move, is to not be on your own show. I'm like, damn, he did it. That son of a bitch, he did it.
That's hilarious. The way you presented it, that's incredible. Yeah, I'm so good. I've made myself a special attraction on my own show. So there you go. I'm a special attraction on your show as well. And thank you once again. Yeah, I by the way, I'm not going to call out what was talked about before the show, but these guys are different from what I remember them. That's all I'm going to say. Right?
We've gone through our villain arc. Oh my god,
villain arc. It's like you can tell. Like when I was first on the show, it was like very much like we're just figuring this out, and now you guys like walk in and there's a routine. There's like a whole thing going on. I feel like you guys leveled up. That's all I'm saying.
Do you still use your Discord? I'm going to send you... There was this... I made this alignment chart. You know, like in D&D, there's this little chat we're in where there's exactly 9 of us in it. Well, no, there's 8 because Philip left. I don't know why you left, Philip. You made everyone
I'm tired of group chats. I'm not going to be a part of more than 3 group chats any longer.
This is the bumping one. Anyways, I sent it to your Discord.
That's perfect. And I agree. Both of you are definitely on the... Actually, lawful evil... What are we trying to say about Philip here?
Have you seen his spreadsheets? Like, I don't know any chaotic evil that's going to have a bunch of spreadsheets. I barely even show up on time.
I feel like you're ruining Philip's image. That's all I'm saying, okay? I feel like Philip has an image of lawful neutral at least, all right? If not good.
I think spreadsheets are inherently evil.
No, Philip is evil because he enables my behavior. In fact, he encourages me to get even more insane than I normally do.
He's like the evil friend, you know what I mean? The one that everyone's like, oh, look at him being such a good and kind-hearted person, and meanwhile he's just like talking to everyone in their ear,
the Jar Jar Binks. Yes,
Jar
Jar Binks. You can go Jar Jar
Sith Lord Jar Jar.
If you see in the scene, he does in fact whisper in Anakin's ear. Whatever. We are a video games podcast.
Sand.
Oh yeah,
are you though?
Women love it.
God. We are a video games podcast. And we're going to be talking about Hearthstone Battlegrounds. But before we get there, let's just check in with what games we've been playing. So, Nave, what have you been playing? Oh, Guns vs. Skins. Damn it. We've already goofed it.
All right, let's restart the episode.
All right.
I have still mostly been playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core. I'm done, basically. I'm at the very end of the game.
Did you get every challenge, every mission?
That's the thing, is that like I'm at the very end of the game. And then my friends came over and we decided to drink and then go to a concert. So I didn't get to finish it. But in my head, I was like, do I go in there and finish the game? Because if I do, I'm not going to want to 100% it. So I just left it there. I decided not to continue. So I'm not sure. Honestly.
I did not. I said, fuck those side missions and just played the game.
It's going to be a really long grind because I went to the mission 1. It's like there's missions, then subsections, and then the actual chapter of the mission. So I'm on 116, right? That's essentially what it is. But anyway, in the very first selection of missions, there is a where you fight just generic Shinra soldiers that get progressively more and more. So it goes from like 20 to 50 to 100 to 200 to 1,000. And
those
I'm
are
like,
pretty cool. I did those.
No, because I did the 200 one. It took 20 minutes. I watched most of a Christian documentary, just like watching it and barely even looking at, just casting Fire Raga over and over and over again. And that made me nervous. I was like, is this it? Is this all? Because I thought I would just be able to beeline to the end every fucking mission. But now I'm like, some of these missions might be difficult.
Well, I hate that some of them have like bonus sub content or something like that too, or sub challenges.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, I already did them. All the ones that like getting the Cactar and the Tonberry and stuff. Because I had a guide open the whole time. I'm not fucking with all that. But yeah, I mean the game is really good. I don't get why everyone is so like emotional about it though, because I've been like stone faced the entire time. I don't know. It's fine. You know what I mean? I knew this character was gonna die. I knew.
Does he?
Or I don't know. Does he die?
Spoiler alert!
By the way. No. Yeah, spoils. Okay.
It's in the fucking original game. Anyway, it's like so. I don't know. It's just what's the best part about the game is just seeing all of the locales and like, remade and just walking around and what's Nidheim or whatever and all of those places. Going to the mansion, the spooky one.
The spooky mansion, yep.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of like
Mama.
There's a whole lot of Easter eggs everywhere, all over the place. I really like when you go to Nidheim. It's like the part where Cloud retells it in Final Fantasy VII, the original, obviously. All of the camera angles are the same in the cutscenes, and all of the motions are the same, even though they look goofy as shit in HD. But like they still do the same like over exaggerated motions, and I'm like, oh, this is tickling me a little bit, right in the pickle area. And so it was really easy to get through that game. It's pretty short if you just streamline it, but yeah, I don't know. It's probably going to be like another 40 or 50 hours for me to get all of the achievements in it. But I'm right there. Like I'm not that far because I've been slowly working on the missions just to level up and like because I thought the materia fusing was cool, so I've been messing with that. I've been like getting new materia and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But then I found Costly Punch, and I'm like, oh, I'm just not using anything else ever again. It's just Fire Auga and Costly Punch, and those are the only moves I use. And Cure Auga every now and then. And so, I don't know. Game's cool. That's really all I've been playing. Marvel Snap, obviously, too.
Been snapping. What about you, Lazero?
I have, for the first time ever, I have two, what's the word? Single player games I'm actually trying to get through.
Look at you.
Not, you guys influence me, I feel. I feel like once I went on this show once, I'm like, I need to be cool around them, so I need to start playing some single player games. But no, I went
good though. Is like this like we're gonna judge
it's the most mainstream of mainstream. But no, Tears of the Kingdom. I finally got into the second boss. And then I've also been playing Hogwarts Legacy. I got through a large portion of that game, but I kind of tapered off a little bit. I mean, to be fair, Tears kind of came out. So it all kind of worked out. And it's one of those things where I pause though now for just long enough. Because I'm usually pretty good if I'm just playing a game that I'll just, this is my like routine. This is the game that I'm playing. But I pause just long enough that I need to get over that first initial thing of like, how do I play this game again? How do I move? All those things. But I really like Tears. Like I think for someone who enjoyed the first game, it like does all the things in the first game but better. However, I think it's one of those things where, I mean, I guess I've given my thoughts, and I technically have a Zelda podcast now. That is a thing, a new thing that we started. I don't know if you heard of it.
What?
Philip.
No, I guess not up to date.
No, well, it was the whole joke is that it's a secret, right? Because in Pokemon, we caught up to Scarlet, which is like the newest Pokemon game. And so instead of doing all these off-brand shoots, we just started reviewing all the Zelda games. So we just did Zelda, like the first Zelda game we just reviewed not too long ago. But no, I was going to say in Tears, I really enjoy it. It has the open world, but it's a little more focused. It actually kind of drives you, which to me is nice. The fact that you have the open world, you can just like, say screw it and do whatever you want. But it's a little more driven than the first game. The first game, you kind of just got lost. And it's a lot more creative, I guess, is the Tears than Breath of the Wild.
I definitely wandered aimlessly for like 35 hours in Breath of the Wild and only killed one boss. And then I gave up on the second one because I guess I went to the wrong one. I went to like the harder one.
But did you find the palm trees? That's really the question. Because once you find that area, it's pretty sick. Well, that's like post-game wandering around where it's like, I really like beating this game. I still want to do something. And then there's a dragon. You find the dragons and stuff. So anyway.
But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, even though I've only played like an hour of it, is definitely something that I could get lost in. And it's got the unfortunate timing of being so close to like Starfield and stuff. And I'm like, we're close enough to Starfield that I'm just like looking at any other game and I'm just like, I don't know.
Do I really want to start this? Look at the
no. If you get into Tears, you're done. Like if you're actually playing that game, you're not playing any other game. Like you can't do this podcast anymore. Like that's what I'm saying.
I was wondering. Because you were like Tears of the Kingdom and also Hogwarts Legacy. I was like, oof, how is he doing both of those at the same time? And you're like, but I gave up Hogwarts for Tears. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think I will go back to Hogwarts because there are certain things that I liked about it. I kind of regret. I mean, not necessarily regret, but I might have just preferred getting Hogwarts for the Switch because any game that's on Switch is just so much easier for me to just pick up and play. And then if I have it on my PC, right? So it's like, okay, I'm logging up. It's a thing. I'm standing in front of a big screen, right? And I feel like sometimes that's actually a barrier of entry for me. Like anything on the Switch is easier for me to just start playing and
pick up and play
into it. Yeah.
I don't have a TV in my bedroom, but I have a TV in the guest room that is literally never used. And so I've been really considering moving my TV to the bedroom and putting the Switch in there, and maybe that'll encourage me to play some more Switch. But like I moved the TV out of my bedroom so that I could go to sleep when I went in there. You know what I mean? So
it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
habit of, but it's not now. It's screwed up because now I'm playing fucking Marvel Snap, and now I'm playing fucking Hearthstone, and I'm just like not, and I'm playing chess. So I alternate between all three of those games in bed, and I'm like,
at the same time, you know, you're all tabbing.
Oh god.
Yeah, I do a turn in fucking Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and then I go back and do my moves in chess while the
those
shit's
turns
playing.
are long enough.
Yeah,
in Hearthstone,
you could do
so
that. You could
probably
play
could.
2 games at once. Yeah.
All right.
RuneScape also.
So, any more games to zero before heading to mine?
The usual multiplayer trash. So I'll leave that out of this podcast.
Yeah,
You know,
I understand.
Unless I start playing Halo, you guys aren't gonna care. You know.
Be like, oh great, another what's the Predator game? How to be a Predator, Apex. That's it.
How to Catch a Predator. Yeah, my favorite game.
Everyone's like, oh, you're playing more Apex, and I'm like, yeah, you and everyone else. If you
What does that
really
have to
want
do
to
with
shock me,
Predators?
because that's the whole thing. You want to be a Predator in Apex. I think that's like Grandmaster, right?
Is he speaking truth? Because I don't think that. Yeah, he doesn't
Hold
know.
on.
What the
Hold
fuck are
on,
you talking about, dude?
I saw Apex happen. Like I saw it happen where I'm like, I thought people were done with these what's it called?
Yes, they are called Predators.
Battle
If you
Royale.
were in the top of the leaderboard, I looked it up.
I thought people were done with the Battle Royale games, and then Apex went around, and like everyone started playing that one. I'm like, is this just going to keep happening? Like, people are just not going to stick with the game. Like, is that anyway? But Apex kind of did it better.
Tetris
than a lot of people.
99 and was it Bomberman Generation Ultimate Battle Royale? Bomberman Royale.
Taiko
that
no
one.
Tatsujin.
The Worms Battle Royale. There's so many
Terrible.
Battle Royales.
I want Zelda Battle Royale. All right, it's just Tears of the Kingdom, but you have every player that ever like is playing it at the same time. They can just attack each other.
I want a battle royale of Mario Party games, wherever there's 99 people playing Mario
it's Fall
Party.
Guys. They already have that.
No, but that's not the same because that's just platforming. I want like the fucking mini game where you cut out the boo with the
Oh yeah,
pile
the drill
driver.
thing.
I want the one where they raise up the flag and get a jump on the stupid mushroom, and there's 99 of us pushing each other.
God,
Someone mod that. You modded in multiplayer into Ocarina of Time. You guys can mod Mario Party 99.
all right. So games I've been playing this week. I actually finished a game right before the pod, but so before we're gonna get there, we're gonna talk about we have a game that we need to do some coverage over. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Nave, have you played it?
Yeah, I played. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've played like 5 matches. We got sent a review copy of this game, so I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna do some coverage so we can stay in the good graces, and this is that coverage. Unless maybe we can do a full episode later down the road when we have less games going on. But this is it. Nate, first look at this game. I am not enjoying it. I've played like 6 matches at this point, and I'm not having fun.
Yeah, I played one game. I was a survivor, and I instantly died. And I was like, oh, that was pretty cool for the fucking 25-minute queue that I waited through.
It's so long.
And then I had a friend over, and I gave them the controller, and they're like, oh, I think this will be fun. I think you're just being a bummer. And then they play it, and they instantly die. And they're like, huh, I don't even know what I was supposed to do. And
so
I don't know either.
Robert, are you familiar with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Have you played it?
I have not played it, but I did hear about it because I was watching pro wrestling last week, and they did a Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match to promote this game.
That sounds really cool.
It was just a lot of like flashing red and like darkness, and then I think it was like Jeff Hardy coming out with blood on him. It was just, I mean, I guess for a spectacle point of view, it was great. From a entertainment point of view, I mean. It wasn't that good, but what I was thinking was funny. What I think is funny with your review is that I was actually, when I was watching that match, I'm like, well, this is supposed to be a promotion, not of like the movie, because like a lot of you think, okay, well, people are watching pro wrestling, they've probably seen the movie. I don't necessarily know if there's a correlation between those people or people who actually want to play this game. But then I'm like, oh, this didn't feel like the movie at all. It felt much more like whatever they did wasn't like a cheap skit of the movie. It was like them pretending to be in the game. So. I mean, enjoy that if you want to watch the pro wrestling and whatever that was. But yeah, the actual time in game Dead by Daylight. I've watched people play
or Dead Friday Night Funkin', as it's known on the pod.
No, that's a real game. It's another game. It's a different.
That's the game they're trying to be, is what you're telling me here.
Yeah. So it's that, but it's teams. So you have a team of 3 killers with one Leatherface, Mr. Texas Chainsaw himself, and then you have 4 survivors. And the 4 survivors are trying to sneak and lockpick their way out of a level without getting spotted by the killers, pretty much. And there's like stages where they escape the basement, they escape the house or the slaughterhouse or whatever, they escape the yard, and then they're clear. I've played a couple matches, and I've won as the survivors or the victims, and I've also done the killers. I haven't got to be Mr. Chainsaw, but I got to be this one lady. I don't know her name, like Susan or something, but she spits poison and like disorientates the survivors. That's really cool. But I got by this game with its stupid long queue times, where once I waited for what felt like forever, and it said
an entire Hearthstone match.
Yeah, entire Hearthstone match, and no players could be found. Nobody was playing this game.
The game just came out, and it's on Game Pass. It's like phenomenal.
3 days after launch on Game Pass, day one, and there was no. And this was quick match. It wasn't even like I want to be the killer or I want to be the victim. It was I want to be anything. I just want to play the game.
I need 7 other people, and you can't find a match. That's wild.
Yeah, well, that's the issue though. Is that like it's a cool idea to have 2 more killers than the other isometric horror killer games. But that just adds to the complexity of the matchmaking, doesn't it?
It does, because like people have to queue up. You either queue as a killer or a victim. There's not like separate ranks either, from what I can tell. Because like in Dead by Daylight, like you'd have a killer rank, which you would get more killer stuff, or you would have a victim rank, and you get more victim stuff and level up your victims. In this, it's like it's shared, so I could play as the victim but still level up my killer, which I guess that kind of lets you fill whatever gap and still make progress, but you don't get to play how you want to play if you're getting auto-selected into a role.
Yeah. And it's sad, too, because people will join in. This was my problem when I first played, was we got into a lobby that was in perpetual purgatory because people kept joining in as the killer, went, oh, I'm not going to be Mr. Chainsaw, and then they left. And then that just kept happening until eventually one of the survivors was like, fuck this, I'm going to go find a new lobby. And then they left. And then we got a 3rd killer, but now we're waiting for a survivor. And when a survivor will join, they're like, oh, I'm not a killer. And then they leave. I'm like, oh, my fucking God. Are you serious?
It's a nightmare. But I did get booted from a match in the character select screen. It kicked me out, and it said my ping was too high. And I was like, what?
That makes sense.
I've never had a game say that. Like, it says, you have been removed from the match for too high ping. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll look for a new match. Because every once in a while, I do get lag spikes whenever my kids are playing the Fortnites and streaming 4K video, and my wife as well. Like, we will get like a lag spike for a second. It would not let me re-queue because it said that I was removed from a game for high ping. So I was too laggy, and it put a ban on me. It's like, you cannot play.
Well, you know what? I respect it. They should do more of that in multiplayer. No.
It was serious. I was like, damn, I've never seen this done before.
I kind of think they should do that in more games too, honestly.
Maybe not like
it's the threshold has to be at some point, but it's especially inconsistent ping. Right? If someone's like consistently at like 200, 300, it's like, okay, that's one thing. But someone who keeps spiking up and down, at some point they're like, no, that's too much. Because at least even if they're lagging, they can at least play the game, right? Yeah. Or you can at least read what's going on. But if they're unable to play the game, like they can't move around, or they stop and they play for 10 seconds and they stop again, then it's like, okay, well, this is neither fun for that person or the other people in the lobby, right?
I get that.
Yeah. My biggest gripe with this game is there's a fucking space in between chain and saw. Why is that? That fucking kills me. Do you go Google it? Google the game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just type in Texas Chainsaw Massacre without game. It's going to come out without a space in between chain and saw. Then type in game after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and now there's a space there. That is the first thing I saw.
Yeah, I see. There's a
is it not
space.
Yeah. Is it not?
There is
gross?
A space in the movie. There is a space in the movie. So.
It does, is in the movie? Are you sure?
No, there's not a space in the movie.
In the 1974 version, or no, Google has decided there's a space. Interesting.
Yeah, look, this one doesn't have it. See, it's even in the link.
So it's, but for some reason, when I search it on Google, when it shows the movie, it does do a space. That's wild. But then if I look at the reviews, I wonder if I actually go around Tomatoes, this is not going to have a space. We're about to find out. Oh, it has a space. The 74 movie has a space.
What the fuck? Is this a Bernstein Bears moment we've just discovered?
Yeah, I guess in the 2003 reboot, they removed the space.
Wow. Not a fan of the original, I guess, eh?
Chainsaw
Can't wait
one word.
for Starfield to come out.
I'm completely on your side because I've been trying to everyone to like keep ASAP Weekly as one word for like ever, and so.
Keep the spaces in there.
Autocorrect keeps just fucking getting me.
ASAP. I'm like, no, that's gonna ruin our SEO. Jeez.
All right.
I wonder what it would autocorrect ASAP Weekly in my phone. It'll probably just put a space in between them.
All right, but that's enough on that. Maybe we'll do an episode for Halloween where we actually play it together. But just in our first hands-on, not a good time. I'd rather play Daylight Funkin'.
Well, if you didn't have a queue time, like, would it be a game worth playing then?
Maybe, because I feel like I have more time. I spend more time in menus than actually playing the game.
Yeah, I think that's
And I've tried to play it every night since the game's been out. I've tried to sit down and play the game, but
I don't know if AI would fix it because when I played, I knew I wasn't gonna like this game too, but because I didn't like Dead by Daylight either, and I just realized I'm not a fan of. I don't like not being able to do anything to protect myself. That makes me feel vulnerable and scared. Okay, and I don't like that feeling.
It's a horror multiplayer game.
No, I don't like.
I'm feeling isolated and powerless.
But shit, what was I just about to say? I don't remember. I was about to defend myself, but I forgot.
All right. So let's move right into my backlog busting then, because I have been busting that backlog hard. Now that I got my low-hanging fruit lined up, I've just been smashing through as many games as I can. I completed like 6 games or some crap like that since the last episode. So this will be a long one. And for you, dear co-op partners in the co-op studio, Lazero and Army Kittens, I even include photos, so you know what I was talking about when I said these obscure-ass games.
I know every single one of these games.
Oh, okay, good. So the first game I beat was as soon as I got done with the Elder Trolls, I jumped on Toem, a photo adventure, and I went and took photos of just a bunch of cute stuff, pretty much. Like I was bitching about photo games. Robert, are you a fan of
you were
photo
bitching?
games?
I thought you were. I was like, you're liking them.
No, I'm saying that I'm tired of them. I don't know why this genre exists.
Oh, well, we misinterpreted that, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, I don't like photo games.
I think photo games are made... Well, here's the thing. What I don't understand is a photo game that then puts pressure on you. Because I feel if you're already deciding that I'm going to wander around and take photos, like you might as well make a game that has like literally no stakes attached to it. But then they have games that are like, no, you need this perfect photo or you get an achievement. I'm like, now I feel like you're defeating a point.
This one, there's no scoring for any of the photos. So you take the photos in whatever style you want, with whatever overlays, whatever angles you want, with the tripod, all that crap. But the subject in the center of the screen has to be whatever you're using it for. Because it's like an adventure game where it's like, oh no, I'm so hungry. If only I knew what I should eat. So you got to go find the perfect picture of a hot dog to bring to this guy. And he'd be like, oh, that's what I should eat. So that's the whole game. And you just do that for 2 hours. Next one. Oh, that's my 60th game this year, by the way.
Whoa, look at that.
I know. Firewatch. You guys may have heard of this one. Critically acclaimed, fan favorite. It's about watching for fires and possibly going crazy with dementia. Or do you?
What? No.
What, are you trying to prevent the spoiler in this one?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Wait, have you not played
the fucking game. Yes, I played it.
What? There's a whole segment where they tried to argue if you are in fact demented.
I thought that he was going crazy because he thought there was some kind of ghost conspiracy or something. He found like a fucking a place.
Yes, he thought there was a ghost conspiracy.
That doesn't mean you have dementia. That's a different thing. Dementia means you can't remember what the fuck is going on around you. You lose your memories all the time.
Okay, so he was turning schizophrenic then, I guess.
That's why I was like, no, that's not.
My bad. I'm sorry for misdiagnosing this guy.
What I love even more is the fact that he said, no, it isn't happening. And I'm like, wait, does this joke work on more than one level right now?
Maybe.
No, this isn't happening. Which I'm still not sure because I think I'm still like, they make it seem like it's like 60-40 on the split of is the things happening in Firewatch real or not. I feel like it's like 60% real, 40% he's cuckoo beans bananas.
Is your cat right next to you? Why is Robert, do you see his like out of focus like curtains right next to him that are like shaking? They keep shaking violently suddenly. Yeah. What is
That's
happening?
actually the reflection off the back of my monitor, and it's probably shaking because I'm banging the table.
Oh, that's your monitor. I thought those were curtains, and they keep moving unnaturally.
No, it's a reflection of the curtains, which are farther back over there.
It looks scary when you move your arm right there, because there we go. It's very distracting. Okay,
you're behind my computer monitors, but
probably
Firewatch.
Cut that out because that wasn't even funny.
No, keep it in. I like the chaos. Although I guess from continuity's sake, it'd probably be better. I don't know. You guys decide. It's your show. What am I saying?
Have you played Firewatch?
No, I have not played Firewatch.
Do you like walking simulators?
No.
Okay, then don't play Firewatch.
Yeah, this is just a walking sim. It's very cool though. What I would do is if you have a content creator that it is pretty. It's got a it's very stylized. You know what I mean? It's like not realistic, but it's like it's like as close to Fortnite like that you can get without looking like shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
But I would recommend if you like a content creator like Moist Critical or someone. I don't think he played this, but like someone who Twitch streams. This is a game that was pretty popular for streaming because it's short and it's compelling, like the story is.
It is. It's nice.
Even though I don't think it wraps up very well, but it's very like ambiguous. So it's neat, you know. It lets your imagination run wild, which is what's cool about it.
Yeah, okay. Jana watched me play the ending of it, and she's like, "So what happened?" And I'm like, "I guess we will never know."
Yeah.
Spoiler:
every movie, TV show, and book ever made. That's the ending. There you go.
I mean, they kind of wrap it up in I don't know, the only book series I can think of is like the Aragon series. Eragon. You read those ones?
Blue Dragon? Okay. I stopped 200 pages on the last book. And people have told me that I absolutely made the right decision.
Yeah,
every single person that has completed the book to the end, they're like, no, just keep it there. They're about to do the big final battle. Keep it right there. Don't do anything else. And you'll like the series more.
I used to stand against that kind of shit where I'm like, no, but I got so far, I've got to know. But now that I've played New Tales from the Borderlands and see what they did to my boy Reese,
man.
I look at the original in a different light now. I'm like, man, this guy's going to turn into that guy. You know what I mean?
Well, I think even more is that it's like, literally on the screen. Like the books are on the screen for me.
Oh, I see him. Are those little? Yeah, I see those thick ass boys down there.
Look at them, yeah.
I mean, you want spoilers for the ending? We can spoil Aragon right here.
Someone spoiled it for me like 20 times, and I keep forgetting. So it's probably a good thing.
Is that forgetful?
I didn't feel, because I didn't read it. I didn't feel it like how disappointing it was. So what's the ending of Aragon?
Okay, so in Aragon, the whole premise is that there's an evil dark wizard.
Evil dark wizard.
Yeah. He's got a giant dragon that he's bent to his will and is using all the power of the dragon to channel his magic. Unstoppable. He's had like 100 years to just sit here and make magic shields on himself. Anything he can imagine and put into words, he puts a shield. He's like, I want a shield that will protect me from all pointy objects. When no pointy objects can now ever hurt him.
So he's just Nasus in top lane, just left to free farm.
He has free farmed for like 100 years. Nobody can hurt him. Nobody can even approach him. Anybody that thinks mean thoughts about him 200 miles away, he gets a radar ping in his head, and he knows where they are. If someone says his name out loud, like Voldemort, he knows about it. So he is like super protected.
He's like the American government.
Yeah, Aragon walks in there, and he's like, I got it. Like, the whole thing is doing mental chess. I got to get a spell that can get through his wards. But he is protected from everything I can imagine. But he's just caused so much pain over the years. What if I just give him that? And so he casts a spell on him that makes him feel the emotional
5G.
Damage. No, not 5G. 5G doesn't exist back then. It's all elves and shit.
Yeah, but if it didn't exist back then he wouldn't have a spell to protect against it. And then he would get cancer from the 5G.
Oh, you're right. Damn it. Oh, shit. I thought about no, I think they cure cancer in the series at one point.
Oh, son of a bitch. They thought of everything.
Yeah, but anyways, he ends up giving him emotional damage. Like all the negative feelings he has ever caused in his 100 years of being king all flow into his mind at once, giving him chronic depression and making him go mad.
Does he
I gotta
Minecraft world
respect
delete?
that.
What?
Does he Minecraft world delete?
No, he tries to, but he ends up getting stopped by another guy because they end up finding like the whole thing is like everything's in a magic language. Like to use magic, you got to speak the magic language. But so to use fire, you got to know the magic word for fire, which is like Brasinger or whatever.
Caliente.
Caliente, yeah. And so they need to know the magic word that is the name of the magic language, because then you can literally control the fabric of the universe and how magic has created everything.
It's Rumpelstiltskin.
I think they come up with some bullshit like that. I don't remember. But then they literally say Aragon went on adventures, flew off into the sunset, and was never seen again. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's the end of the book.
I recommend the Aragon series just for the second book and the brother side story.
Dude, the brother is the best part.
That is the best part of everything, yeah. Them, like, the whole village kind of like going to fight and them traveling around with the whole village. It's one of those things where like you're reading the main story and like I don't care, but I literally, once you get past the first book, you stop caring about the main character and you just care about his brother and his like side quests.
Well, he's like talking to ants and shit in his chapters. In like the main character Aragorn's chapters, he's like in the jungle training with Yoda, and then you cut back to Roran as he is using a sledgehammer and literally crushing people's jaws as they try to attack his own village. Like it's a much thrilling story,
I think the first two books are worth it. Maybe even the third one, but I think it's a worth read. Just actually only read the second book. Don't even read the first one.
Don't read the first one.
Don't even read the first one. You're not going to miss much. It's fantasy BS the whole way through anyway.
Dude, that's how I felt about The Matrix as a kid. Where I was like, I just watch the second Matrix because it's the best one. Well, that's the thing. Because
set up, honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first one is a perfect movie. As an adult, I'm like, this is a perfect movie. This is like one of my favorite movies, actually. But
it's one of those movie
as a
movies.
kid, as a kid, I was like, there is so much fucking talking and philosophizing, and I just want him to karate kick someone's fucking head off. And then the second one, they're like, no beginning, no end. He's just fucking balls to the wall action. The fucking trucks are colliding into each other, and he's running on the wall. He's fucking shooting machine guns with both of his arms. And then the fucking guys with the dreadlocks. And then the third movie is like a love story. And I was like,
the nightclub dancing. Yeah.
I'm like, I fucking hate this movie and the first movie. But the middle one, boy, howdy. So many fucking explosions and shit.
Yeah, so go watch Matrix 2 and read the second Aragon book. But Firewatch was my 61st game this year. Pretty good. And then Rocket Knight. You guys know about Rocket Knight?
I've seen this. I don't know much about it, but I've seen this because it looks revolting.
Yes, like I think it was originally like a SNES game or some crap like that then had a slight revival in the Xbox Live Arcade, and it's surprisingly hard, but because I thought it was going to be poo-poo baby game, but it's actually pretty good. Like I struggled on it. Yeah, it was hard.
Good or hard?
Both.
Okay.
Well, okay, it was a good challenge, but it wasn't necessarily fun to play. But I enjoyed beating the game.
I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah. Like Metal Slug X, my 63rd game this year. I played this on my little PlayStation emulated Game Boy type thing, and man, Metal Slug's good. After playing Broforce, I have more respect for Metal Slug as a series because there's so much Broforce in Metal Slug.
Yeah, or I mean the other way around. But yeah, it's the other way around. Dude, Metal Slug is great though. Like. It was always one of my favorites in the arcades. What were your favorite arcade games? When you go into an arcade,
Slug
what do you know?
Metal Slug 3. They're all Metal Slug.
What about you, Robert?
Favorite arcade games?
Like if you're walking into an arcade or barcade or something, what are you hoping to see?
Or a pizza place.
Any one of those like point and click ones. Any one of those.
Oh, like Area 51?
Yeah.
Time Crisis?
Time Crisis. That's the one. There you
know, my favorite one was Silent Scope. Did you ever play this one, Robert?
The sniper in the second screen on the scope?
Silent Scope was a sniper rifle point and click shooter game where there was a sniper rifle that was like like tripoded into the cabinet.
That's
and
sick.
you aim, when you're aiming at the screen, there's a screen inside the scope that's 10 times magnified, so you can look past the scope and see where you're aiming, and then look back in the
That's
scope
sick.
to see
That's
where
so
the people
It was really cool.
The best part is, though, is that there were two cabinets right next to each other. There was a deathmatch mode where you guys had to find each other in these different maps. And like there was a map where there was a building on one side and the other side was a Ferris wheel. And one person, you had to fucking scan the Ferris wheel looking for the other sniper. And then it was so cool. There was a whole bunch of different maps that you could 1v1 on. And it was always intense. Me and my dad loved playing that together.
A game like that, I'm like, that's the kind of stuff like I wish you could buy now. You probably could, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to buy a setup. I just want that arcade game.
I want one of those one-up cabinets with it, but it'll probably be half the size, and I'll have to play on my knees. I'll look just like the army man. You know what I mean? On my knee.
Joey, they sell risers you can get for that to raise them up a little bit to normal person height.
I'm sorry, I meant Coast Guard man. I don't want everyone to.
Yeah. All right, but Metal Slug X, pretty good. I don't know where X falls in the series. I doubt this is actually Metal Gear 10, but it might be.
Are you sure? Because this game doesn't seem like that hard to make after you made the first one.
Dude, I love the art so much, but it looks so recycled. Like it looks like every Metal Slug since Metal Slug 2, you know?
Yeah, that is the thing, because they all have the same enemies and the same like POWs and stuff, the same characters. But that's kind of the charm a little bit, you know? They were like expansion packs, but like in the arcade.
All right, so my next game, Super Mario Land. Are you guys familiar with this, where Mario goes to the Middle East?
This game sucks.
Dude, it sucked. But there is a side-scrolling shooter section, which I did not expect in a Mario game, where you get in a submarine with a gun and just start mowing down squids. And I'm like, this was in a Mario game?
Yeah, it's a renegade version. I mean, if he was in the Toadstool Kingdom, whatever it's called, he wouldn't have been doing it, but he was in Egypt.
You're not. Yeah, he's in Egypt, or I forgot what they call it, but this is the one where Daisy is the princess.
Wow. So wait, you're telling me Mario's cheating on...
No. I mean, this was a long time ago. This was the original Game Boy before games were in
what
color.
What happens in this, you know, far away land stays in this far away land. That's all I'm saying.
Which I played this game because mostly I wanted to play the second one, Mario Land and the 8 Golden Coins, which is the first appearance of Wario, I think. So I wanted to play that one.
Didn't
Oh wait, no, there's Wario's Woods too.
Didn't Keith from Main Quest have an episode on Mario Land? The second one?
He is what kind of inspired me to go back and play this one.
Sick.
A lot of Keith stuff is actually like kind of an inspiration for me to knock these games off my backlog, because I see him clearing these old shitty games, and I'm like, if Keith could beat it, I can beat it.
Yeah,
as he's playing Bonk's Adventure.
Funny story about that though for Robert. So Philip was supposed to be on his show talking about Kirby, whatever, the ball sack in the Game Boy version. What is it called?
Kirby's Adventure in Dreamland or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland.
Philip played that. He streamed it for me because I was curious, and he was supposed to be on that show. And then Philip was like, "I can't do it, Nave. I got to tag you in." And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go talk about this game I don't know." And I just showed up, and I was just not knowing what the game was.
Did you sell it where you're like, yeah, I totally know everything about this game? Is that what you did going in?
Yeah, luckily it's only like 25 minutes long, so I could just. I remembered his playthrough, and I all
right. Let's keep this rolling. We've been in the backlog for a long time now. Rayman Origins, my 64th game this year. Finally beat it. Nave, I suggested this for the pod one day, and I was like, oh, we'll knock it out real quick. And you were like, we will not knock that game out real quick. That is not a quick game. And I played it, and I thought I was near the end. And then the second world happened. And I'm like, oh, no.
I think that's when I quit. I was like, oh, my God. The only thing keeping me going was I thought I was almost done. And I was like, what? What?
This game is so long. It is so good, though. This game is like near masterpiece for a side-scrolling platformer, though. It is such a good game.
Yeah, too bad Ubisoft only makes Ubisoft games now.
I mean, is this not a Ubisoft game?
Yeah, but this a Ubisoft game as in, like, you know, the Far Cry replica.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How all their games are like Far Cry. Except for this one. But then they
came out with another Rayman game. It was like Rayman Legends.
I think that was 8 years ago, dude.
I mean, this game was good. I want to play the other one that was in the new series.
Yeah, it might be on Game Pass.
What on Uplay?
Hold on, I'm looking at stuff. It was 2013. That was a decade ago, Philip. That's even longer than I was exaggerating when I said 8. Holy
These
shit.
old games are good, I swear. And I gotta get them off my backlog. I've owned them for years.
Speaking about Game Pass, real quick tangent. Did you guys hear about how so Ubisoft Plus is like another streaming, like EA Play, Game Pass, PlayStation Plus Premium, whatever. And so the Uplay Plus and Activision Blizzard made a deal for Activision games to appear on Uplay Plus, when those games are also going to appear on Game Pass, which means that people on PlayStation can get Activision Blizzard games on Uplay Plus on PlayStation when they're Xbox games. Am I the only one that cares about this?
No. It's actually pretty cool. No. I feel when you're not in the world of PlayStation and Xbox, you don't look at this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's the workaround now. So wait, is like the secret now for PlayStation just to like make all these partnerships with individual publishers in order to get around like the ban? Is that going to be the future? Like everyone's just like taking studios and like getting like side deals with them.
Yeah, that's the dystopian world we're marching towards. By marching, I mean we're fucking Olympic sprinting towards.
Yeah.
Consolidation and whatnot.
Speaking of dystopian worlds, my next game, my 65th game this year, Trials of the Blood Dragon. I did not know this was a Trials game.
Yeah.
Despite it being in the title.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was going to be a Far Cry shooter. Like I thought it was going to be like a young blood situation with Wolfenstein where it's just, young punk characters. But no, this is a game about motorcycles and jetpacks and
it is pretty cool.
It's actually really good. I don't like Trials usually. Like I don't like the regular Trials where it's just like props that you're riding across and like weird courses. But when you put them in a Neo Tokyo situation or Miami, I'm like, man, this is sweet.
Oh, this is sorry. I'm just looking at it. So this is like all you do is just lean with your motorbike. Is that the style of game? You
I
gas
love
and
these
lean. Kind of games.
Well, there's more,
like
but
Happy Wheels.
It's not important.
I mean, I used to play like those original ones on like the very first mobile games that came. Actually, I'm pretty sure I played this on Mini Clip like back in the day. But I feel like I've always loved these kind of games. It's so simple as a concept, but you're telling me the background made it. That's what made it for you.
That and
the story and stuff.
The story.
There's actually a story.
There is a story where you play as two kids named like Slash and Axel or some crap like that.
Gunpowder and arson or something.
Yeah, and you're secretly cyber commandos, or not even secretly cyber commandos. You just are cyber.
Yeah,
and you're fighting communist Reds cyber forces.
Yeah,
across the Canadian wasteland in multiple cities, and
because it's in the universe of Far Cry Blood Dragon,
which I had not played at this point.
Oh,
so
you should, dude.
That's it. That was my next game.
The funny thing is, did I spoil it for you? This will. I'm not gonna spoil the game, but like I was gonna say, I would not play a Trials game except for this one, and I would not go back and play another Far Cry game unless it was Blood Dragon.
Dude, okay, going around to number 65, which I finished right before the pod and did not update the notes. But Blood Dragon, Far Cry 3, it is the best Far Cry I might have ever played.
It is so tight, isn't it?
It is so good. So, Robert, I don't know if you played it. Have you?
Just keep going.
Let me catch you up. Let me catch up to the dear listeners at home. So Far Cry 3. Okay, first off, there was a game series back on the Cry engine called Far Cry. And it was big. I'm not going to get this one. It was basically a big tech demo with stealth mechanics and bushes that didn't actually hide you and all that crap. It was real bad. Then they made like a expansion that was like Far Cry Predator Unleashed type stuff where they just added dumb bullshit like
Far Cry
superpowers. Apex, one of those. And then they came out with Far Cry 2, which was super realistic and dooky, and everybody hated it. At least I hated it.
I don't even know malaria pills all the time
because you were always slowly dying of malaria.
It was great too because you shoot your guns and then they blow up in your hands. You'd be like, ah! And then because you weren't oiling them and massaging them with a cloth and stuff. It was
Because you
fucking
know
great.
what I wanted my first person shooter? Busy chores. Where I go back to my house, I talk to my little NPCs, I fix my guns, I take my malaria pills before I go out and I repair my car. I pull up my paper map and look at it to see where I'm driving to in this goddamn forest.
That does not pause the game when you're looking
No, it
at the
does
map.
not.
So
It's
you
like-
have many opportunities to crash and fucking hit your head.
You
get
can
a
drive
concussion.
with the map covering the screen. So you're just holding down the gas full speed while you pull the map up and just hold it where you can't even look out the window.
It's just fucking flapping around in your face because all the cars are fucking Jeeps and go-karts.
God, it's so good. It's so bad. I hated Far Cry 2.
We're hyping it up right now, but it's bad. It's not fun.
It's not in the like so bad it's good territories. It has
No.
It
I
is
do want-
interesting as a relic because this was like before they had the open world down. You're like, huh, this is interesting.
Yeah, they were trying with it. Instead of having like an open world that you traversed, it would be like there were just roads connecting different sites. So it was like the same Far Cry where it's like, oh, I got to sneak into this village and murder all the people because that's what you do in Far Cry games, or this army facility. But you would have to do a lot of driving in between there to make it feel like you were traveling really far when really it's just the same jungle road.
Yeah.
Copy paste just like 1,000
Yes.
times.
Yeah, and then you run into like militants along the way, and the second you get shot, you instantly go into like hemorrhaging blood mode too, where you have to then perform first aid on yourself, and your guy like flips out his little like his what are they called, the pliers, reaches into his wound on his arm, like holding it up to your face, so you're like this, and then you pop the bullet out. He's like, throws it to the side, flexes a little, and then gets back in the fight.
He fucking unbreaks his broken fucking
Yes!
index
Oh,
finger.
God. And that was the other thing is like if you needed to that was only if you didn't have any morphine shots. Because if you had morphine shots, you just take the syringe Bioshock style and shove it in your arm.
Yeah, right in front of the screen, so all the people who had the fucking hemophobia or whatever threw up spontaneously while watching.
God, that game was so bad. But Far Cry 3, I think it was also dookie, but I didn't play it. But
Far Cry 3 was peak.
Was it really?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's the problem. It's the same reason why it's like how Iron Man was so fucking good that it inspired the next 27 years of fucking movies. Far Cry 3 was so good that every fucking Ubisoft game became that game.
Okay, so I don't know about Far Cry 3. Apparently it was good. But the spin-off, like its weird Predator spin-off, was Blood Dragon, which is an 80s themed neon, I don't even know what to describe it, nuclear dystopian future where you play as Rex Colt, who is a cyber commando, and you are basically in an action movie like Broforce, like The Matrix 2. You just drop into a fight where you have your black sidekick, Spider, who's like hacking a computer, and he's like, oh man, this is going to be really hard to hack into, Colt. And Colt's like, all right, Spider, I'm going to need you to use your black magic on this one. Hey. And then looks at the camera, and he's like, I'll do my best. Oh God, he's like, I'm gonna have to use my main, it's gonna fry my main CPU because he's also a space commando or whatever, and it like shocks him whenever he hacks the computer. And he's like, Colt, I need you to tell my wife and son that I died for my country. And Colt's like, you'll tell him yourself, brother. And it's like, what? It's so stupid.
I love it. I love everything about that.
Yeah, what is that kung fu movie where Hitler comes back and comes forward in time and then
is that the 30-minute short? Are you talking about the 30-minute short where they go into like dinosaur era?
Yeah, it's
a weird 80s.
It's a pretty short movie. There's this awesome part. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm gonna keep talking about it. Where he goes to a payphone, Hitler does, and he calls the police, and he's like, "Hello, is this the police?" And they're like, "Yes, it is." And then he gets a gun and shoots into the phone receiver, and then bullets come out of the fucking phone at the police station, where he shoots all the police from the phone.
No, God.
Yeah, it's so good. I can't remember. Oh, Kung Fury.
Yeah,
I think it's called Kung Fury.
God.
But that is literally Kung Fury and Far Cry Blood Dragon are in the same vein. Those are like the same kinds of content.
Well, it's such a crazy
Everyone
premise.
talks like this.
Yeah, we didn't even mention why it's called Blood Dragon, but all of Canada has been nuked, and the nuclear radiation has seeped into the soil, getting on all the dinosaur fossils that are buried deep in the earth. the dinosaurs have come back to life as radioactive blood dragons that are now walking around shooting laser beams out of their eyes and their mouth and stuff, and just ravaging the countryside. It's unbelievable. And the whole premise is like, you're trying to stop a bad guy who's harvesting the dragon blood and drinking it to make himself more powerful and becoming part cyber blood dragon himself, because he's also a cyber commando. God, it's so bad.
Of course.
Oh, you meet like a love interest right at the very beginning of the game. It's like Dr. Darling or something like that. And he's like, I forgot what it was, but she was like, so what do you want to do something after this? And he's like, I'm already committed. And she's like, oh, your wife? And he says, America. And I'm like,
yes.
God, it's so good. Or like you're talking to Darling on the radio, and she's like, oh, I just need to finish this last level. And he's like, Darling, are you playing video games? And she's like, yeah, why do you say it like that? I don't know why people have such a stigma against video games. Video games have not been proven to be linked with any sort of violence, despite the violence like displayed within them. And like, God, this is so stupid. She goes on a whole tirade about how great video games are. Or like when the first bases you're infiltrating, there's like an AI loudspeaker that's like, attention all cyber guards. For the record, your grenades are actually defective. It will only work if you yell grenade out before throwing them. So it gives an excuse in game for all the guards to yell grenade out when they throw grenades at you. But when she says on the radio, like triggering Alexa, some grenades just go off in the distance.
Oh, perfect. Amazing. Amazing. I was about to say, do all of them trigger then?
Then partially through the level, she says, a follow-up, I'm sorry for everyone that was killed in the grenade explosions. As an update, the grenades will now go off if you say, eat this. And then you hear more grenades blow up in the distance. And I'm like, God, that's some prime gaming. They just don't make them like this anymore. Then I think about the dang, which is it Liberals? Which one's in the newest, or which Far Cry we played?
The Libertards. The Libertads.
Those Libertards.
That's what they were called by the bad guys. Wait, no, that's the good. The Libertads, the good guys.
Yeah,
I think. I don't know now. I don't know who's who anymore.
God, with their transgender agendas and whatnot. I don't want to sound like the old man yelling at the Fox News, but I preferred it whenever he was talking about people's black magic and not talking about transgender rights.
It's incredible though, because it's such a how Blood Dragon's a relic of its era. This game, Far Cry 6, is a relic of its era because it's like. It's incredible. Like, I haven't played Far Cry 5 or 4, so going from 3 to this one and like having that whole storyline about the trans person, I'm in the middle of a fucking uprising in a third world country. I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I'm like, this is riveting. I don't know what I'm experiencing.
As an American, I am very politically charged, and I feel not offended at Blood Dragon. I actually really approve of all its stances, specifically. The whole game just keeps on going too, and it's short. It was only like 3 hours long, but you can go to every waypoint if you want. I did not. I stuck to the main path, but that was it. When you eventually get to ride a cyber dragon that has a brain implant that talks to you, and he hits you with every possible like movie quote one-liner it can, including internet quotes, which of course is ahead of its time. It says things like "I'm firing my laser" and stuff like that. I'm like, oh. You classic Rage comics, yeah. Or it even does like the Rocky, like "I will break you," and I'm like, oh, that's good. That's some good stuff. I don't even really like Rocky, but I'm glad it's in there.
I must break you. I'm firing my laser.
Or when you meet up with Spider again, you guys do the what show had like the bro hand grab, where they flex, where the Predator handshake. Yeah, that's it. And I'm like, damn, that's brutal. Good stuff. But that is my backlog. That is 65 games I've completed this year. I think I'm gonna make it.
Had like 1 to 0 games the past few weeks. No, it's
like,
fucking 12.
It's time. It's time.
I got 4 months till the end of the year. I need to knock these games off my list.
What are you trying to get to? How many are you trying to get to?
100. I want to do 100 in a year. I thought I could do it easily. It was not easy, as it turns out. I'm thinking next year I'm going to go for quality over quantity.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how Yakuza seems like an unapproachable franchise, but it looks so fucking awesome and great. And I'm just sitting there in my mail truck like, it is a fucking good franchise. I don't care how long they are. And then I was thinking, God damn it, Philip with his stupid fucking 100 games, and he doesn't want to play Yakuza because he likes Yakuza 0, but he doesn't want to spend 40 hours on one fucking Yakuza game when he can spend 5 hours beating 7 indie games. God damn it, Philip.
Yeah, but that's my long ass list. So at this point, Nave, what did you buy?
I'm not actually sure. You talk about the other thing.
All right, so Nave, I noticed you stepped away from this mic, so I'm going to directly ask you a question.
Okay,
do you remember back in our Battlefield 1943 episode? I don't know, Robert. Do you remember that episode?
2 weeks ago?
1943. What were you talking about?
Battlefield 1943.
About the actual game itself?
Well, no, this was, it was during the game chat where we talked about the proper movements for shitting in the bathtub, whether you do the scuba diver over the side or if you're just sitting in the tub. I have found
the protocol.
Some protocol. So I was given
medically
Arthur,
advised.
No, Arthur he's 1 year old. I was giving him a bath the other day, and I knew he had not shit throughout the day. At that point, I knew he was a clean bum, and I got him in the bath because it was bath day. He goes over to one side of the tub. He does a slight squat and then just chocolate cloud out the back end, just blew it all up and just shit straight in the tub. But there's water in the tub, though. So it just kind of like souped away from him. Maybe I should have put a warning before this discussion.
No, it's not too bad. It definitely is not as bad as what you guys were talking about. It was a lot Christianity, yeah.
No Christian updates, by the way, everyone. So you're safe.
Sad. But since he had blasted it all in one direction, quickly acting when I saw that he was blowing, shit straight out of his underwear into the tub. He had no underwear on. I grabbed all the bath toys and saved them from the cloud. And then I was able to grab him and like move him away from the poop cloud and give him some dunks to wash the shit off of his butt so that he came out with a clean butt. Yeah. And he had already like done the full bath. Like we would wash there and everything. So he was just dicking around until it was time to get out. But it turns out you've got to stand about middle, face one direction, like not like sideways or something like that.
Not towards the wall or towards the floor.
Yeah.
I thought that was a given.
Yeah, so you're not going straight onto the.
You got to aim on target.
Yeah. And then you just shit as much as you can, and then you use the remaining clean water before the shit spreads to wipe your ass.
Well, is this a bathtub situation or a shower? I got lost on that part.
This is a bathtub. We haven't discussed shit in the shower besides the alley.
I don't know because it's like whenever.
Oh, that was a different episode, I think.
Yeah, waffle stomping was different. I don't know. As soon as shit touches the water, I feel like instantaneous. I don't know how fast germs move, but in my brain, I've always assumed they just instantly contaminate everything the moment. It's like fucking they Goku put their fingers on their temple and then teleport directly to every part. Like, I don't know. As soon as poop touches any part of the water, I think the whole water is poop.
What, do you just not go to a public pool then?
I haven't been to a lot of public pools where shit became an issue. Where there was suddenly and I don't know. Do you know what this whole thing is like reminding me of, though? Just earlier today, I discovered this video. And I thought about sending it to you, Philip, but then I was like, no, he's not going to like this. It's from someone named Kevin Leonardo, and it's called Removing Butt Hairs Using Nair Cream, a Visual Guide. And this video's on YouTube with 41 million views. And within the first 3 seconds of the video, there is a jump scare of his literal nude asshole and balls bent over facing the camera. And this is on YouTube. And I can link this to you if you guys want to see this guy's butthole.
I don't need to add to the 40 million.
But that's the thing. So, of course, as soon as I saw this, because I was like, no way. And I came and looked it up. And for sure, there's this nude asshole on YouTube. Yeah, and then I came, and now I'm going to watch it tonight. And so I naturally sent this video to almost everyone I know in real life because they're going to click on it, trusting me. And then the first 3 seconds, there's a butthole on their fucking phone.
Why? Yeah.
But it's so fascinating though, because the reason why this video the reason why it's 41 million views is because there's a nude asshole on YouTube. But also the reason why it's still on YouTube and not taken down, because it's been up for a month, is that it's a educational video. It's an educational video about removing ass hair from your ass, right? Because he's explaining, he's like, here's my butt before, now, and then he takes his hair out, and then he goes, here's my butt after. Or I assume. I don't know. I haven't watched more than 3 seconds of the video. I assume he...
Wait, you got to report back. How did he do it?
I'll have to report next week. It'll be the butt report. But I watched another episode. I watched another video.
There was new episodes?
And it was a educational video about anal sex and how to, like, properly, like, loosen your asshole up. And I'm like... And he's like going through, he's like showing all kinds of, and I'm like, whoa. This is on YouTube. This is just on YouTube. For everyone.
The children.
You have to click I wish to proceed whenever you watch it, but so I thought I should traumatize you with that. Hold on. I don't know if my friends replied to me. They probably didn't. They probably were just upset. Oh, my friend Dontree just said why.
Like this episode too.
Oh, why?
All right.
Why indeed?
And with that, it's time to check if people are the assholes. But while that's getting pulled up, I'm going to thank our patrons. Insane Cracker, Nick and Knight, Hoffel, Michael Superbacker, and the Intergalactic Pinecone. Thanks, boys. We couldn't do the show without you. If we just get a couple thousand more $1 a month patrons, Nave can quit his job as a postal worker and work full time for gaming together. Make it happen,
dude. No shit. It has been over 100 degrees for like maybe 4 weeks straight in Oklahoma. It's insanity. Like, I know this is kind of gross, but like I've had heat rash on my fucking like thighs like every day. It's fucking horrible.
It's tough.
Yeah, I'm like, I was like, when I saw it, I was like, what the fuck? Am I turning into fucking the Venom from fucking DC Universe? I was like, what the fuck is going on with my legs? I thought I got bit by a radioactive spider. But it turns out it's just heat rash, like babies get.
Those dang babies. All right, Robert,
baby powder going.
What asshole thing are we reading?
Okay, we're going to read... Should I read the brief description, or should I just click on it and then tell you?
I mean, you can read the title.
Let's do. Let's do. Dad pays son to play video games. Let's do that one.
All right. Where's that?
Number seven.
Number 7. Oh, I see it.
Oh, Philip, look, relevant picture I just saw on Facebook.
Oh, please don't be butthole. Oh no, it's. Do you have any photography experience? And
you can click on that, Robert. It's safe. Philip, cooperate.
Yep, it is in fact safe.
Except whatever's going on with the Squirtle. I don't know what that Squirtle is doing with the other Squirtle. Do you see it?
He's climbing on him.
It looks a little sus.
All right. So, dear listeners at home, this is the Am I the Asshole segment where we put on our doctor / therapist / just nosy Nelly hats, and we take a look at somebody's life and see if they are in fact the asshole. Just weigh in on how it goes. So this one is titled, Am I the Asshole for Paying My 7-year-old Son to Beat Some of the Greatest Video Games of All Time from Dick Mufflebush 3 years ago. And he received a lot of awards for this post. People seem to like this one.
I don't. Give me the link to that one.
Oh, great. Everyone else got the link, not you?
No, because he chose it and you found it. I don't know where you're at. There it is.
All right. I'll read this one. Pretty self-explanatory. I pay my son $50 now for showing me the ending of a classic game of my choosing. But my wife disagrees big time. It actually began as a joke a few months back when he saw me playing Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo Classic. I mentioned that it was notoriously difficult, and I jokingly would pay him $100 if he could beat it. He did use save states, but over the next few days, I'll be damned if he didn't show me the first ending. It tore him to pieces that he never knew that it had to be beaten twice to get the true ending. And I didn't pay him that day. That didn't stop him, though. Sure enough, And over a couple days and a couple YouTube tutorials later, he beat that hard bastard and showed me the game over screen. I couldn't believe it. My wife had no idea about our deal, and when she saw me pay him, she was happy for him in front of him, but furious with me behind the scenes. I get it. It is a lot of money for a 7-year-old. That is a lot of money for a 7-year-old. But I explained that I knew it was a lot of money, but it was hilarious. And everyone benefits except for our wallets. He learned the lessons of determination, self-discipline, desire, etc., in my opinion. So I said, fuck it, and explained to him that 100 is too much, but I would pay him 50 if he wanted to do again. He accepts. So far, he's beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Galaxy 2, and is about to complete Super Metroid for a total of $200. Am I the asshole for paying my son to beat some classic games?
This is the second lukewarm one in a row.
Yeah, this one's very tame.
Yeah, this turned out way more tame than I thought it'd be. I'll give my opinion though that I feel like him doing it the first time was fine, but a 7-year-old making $50 every time he beats these games, like in the long run, like if you're gonna do this with every single game, I think is a bad idea just in general. But doing it once, maybe even twice, I don't see the big problem with that. That's where I'm at.
This kid is going to get addicted to heroin.
That's what I was saying. Like, well, I wasn't saying that, but yes, that's the point. If the parent lets them just keep doing this,
or he's going to be the next Elon Musk. He's going to be a go-getter. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's either or. There's only two options.
See, this is funny because I think this is actually like putting the you took the horse, you put it behind the carriage, but then to correct it, you then put the carriage back behind the horse, but you just did that every time you needed to go anywhere. So think about it. This kid, 7-year-old, probably does not have a stable job. So the parents are probably already buying video games for him. So this is just, I think they're buying the games before he plays them at this point. So it's like, hey, here's little $50, little Jimmy. Go out there and play your Sonics or whatever. But this is ensuring that before he gets a new game, he finishes the last game. So this is like, hey, I want my kid to play video games or whatever. I want him to have fun. And he has basically created a treadmill, whereas if this kid wants a new game, he has to finish his old games first.
Okay, but if that was the way this was working, then I think the wife would be on board. If that was literally the purpose of creating
these aren't new games either. This
Mario Galaxy 2?
This post was made 3 years ago.
Elden Ring?
Elden Ring was in
okay,
there?
What?
He deserves $100 for beating Elden Ring at 7. Actually, kids are a lot better at video games when they're super young. They learn a lot faster than we do. At everything. Maybe
Ghosts and Goblins?
Yeah, that's
Ghouls and Goblins?
I mean, that game is notoriously hard. But I mean, also, whenever everyone thinks back about beating it, they remember their childhood selves beating it, and not their 40-year-old brain malnourished, fucking Burger King riddled, clogged up, arteried ass hands playing it now.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. Maybe he should maybe he should aim the kid at something else, not video games. But I mean, like video games.
Okay,
are like,
here's the other big problem. If it's now become goal setting and it's money rewards for everything he does, and the only reason he's going to play video games or do stuff is for a reward, a specific goal, like that's also detrimental. Like if you're playing video games just to beat it, just get the $50, right? Like essentially, what ends up happening is the kid's gonna start thinking into like money wise, like transactionally, and all like you're gonna develop a habit of just thinking about things transactionally, right? And that means like if you're gonna be talking to other people or you're gonna be doing something else, you'll like that kid's gonna start going to school, and it's like, what do I like? I just see right away him being like, okay, so like what are you gonna give me for like finishing this like homework or whatever, right? Like everything's gonna be transactional. So you're actually.
The teacher drops the quiz on the desk and he just starts fucking wringing his hands. He's like, "Oh yeah, huh?" Like that. What is that meme? That dude in the meme. Fucking love that meme.
So like, I think it's actually, if you think of it that way, then it's like, well, you don't want to teach your kid that the only thing that matters is making money, because that kid's already getting that reward loop. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he now just thinks of everything as like, how can I get money? Like I don't think that's that doesn't create a kind-hearted and good-natured human being, is what I'm saying. Okay.
It creates a cold-blooded American.
Yeah. Creates a fucking League of Legends player. I think that, like I said before, like if he's going to do some monetary incentivization, maybe he should, like if the kid wants to play video games and like this is like an interesting way to get him to like explore other genres of games that he might not be susceptible to. Like a lot of kids are just playing on their iPads or playing their Fortnites and whatever, but like this kid's playing some like Super Ghosts and Ghouls. I mean, that's a shit game, but like Super Mario Galaxy 2 and then Super Metroid are both incredible, and they're both very different. You know what I mean? He's getting him to get acclimated with multiple different play styles, which was something that as a kid I had to do just because I only had enough money. I only had an allowance for like one game every month, right? So I just had to play whatever I got. But this kid probably is exposed to thousands of games, especially if his dad's a gamer, which he probably is because he's introducing him to Super Ghosts and Ghouls and shit. So it's like this guy's probably been around the block. So if the kid is already trying to play games, this is a cool way to get him to like play different genres and stuff, and like maybe develop a relationship with them in a way that they have something to talk about. They have this like shared experience to like bond over.
Oh yeah.
Whereas he was probably a kid when he beat Super Ghosts and Ghouls and Super Metroid 2, so they have like very similar experiences. But I think that okay, good. I went on.
No, like exactly with that point. Like that's what I'm afraid of though, is that when the dad beat this game originally, right? That was the enjoyment. Hey, I beat the game. This was a cool game. This is fun. I have fond memories of that, right? And this kid, because the kid's 7, is going to be like, oh, I made $50, right?
Yeah.
And like, if my point is the dad and the kid spending time as he beats this video game is far more important to me than the $50, but the kid won't get that, and that's what I'm afraid of, I guess. With the whole
like his satisfaction was self-improvement, and the kid's satisfaction is he
well, the goal is beating the game for the dad too, right? Like when the dad beat the game, it's like, oh, I like this game, I want to beat it, right? He still had a goal, right? But the difference was, oh, because I'm gonna like, yeah. Anyway, I
was thinking like when the dad beat it, what he got out of it was the feeling of self-improvement and overcoming. And when the kid's going to get that to a degree, but it's also going to be partially that he made his dad proud. Like I don't think the dad made his dad proud when he beat
Ghosts and Goblins, right? Yeah, whatever, yeah.
So there was no like familial acceptance because kids crave that. Like, kids really want to make their parents happy or proud or whatever. And I mean, I assume, I don't know. I just have
as long as that's the focus. Like I see no problem with it. I just $50 for every single game you get in the future, like that to me is where I feel like I see the problem. But yeah, what do you want to say, Philip?
So as a parent of 3, my middle she's 11, and she is the biggest gamer of the 3. Arthur's terrible, and the older one's too busy talking to her friends.
Are you saying the 1-year-old can't hold the controller and play Elden Ring?
He holds the controller. Like the second I lay the controller down, he starts waddling over it as fast as he can, and he'll grab it and he holds down the middle X button and just looks at me.
Oh my god!
And it goes to like power the console off, and I'm like, why,
dude? But my sister's go on. I've got to hold the story in my head though.
So my 11-year-old, if out of nowhere she came up to me and says, "Dad, I'll beat Dark Souls 1 if you give me $50." I'll be like, I'm going to give you $50 if you beat Dark Souls 1. Like I wouldn't even hesitate on that matter. But Dark Souls 1 is very important to me, and I assume, I don't know about Super Ghosts and Goblins or whatever. Like I don't give a fuck about that game. I don't know how anybody could give a fuck about that game. But Super Metroid matters to some people. So maybe that Super Metroid is like this guy's Dark Souls 1. Like if my kids wanted to play Dark Souls 1, I don't care how old they are, I'd be there cheering them on as they are just getting creamed by the first Minotaur demon. You know, like, I don't know. Yeah. I want to be there because that game means so much to me personally. And I want to share that with them in any way possible. Whenever I adopted my kids, and I got my 11-year-old whenever she was like, I don't know, 8 or something like that. And this might be a little crook of me, but when she was 8 years old, I was playing Dark Souls with her. Like we were already playing Dark Souls, and she wasn't very good, and mostly just kind of walked around and killed things in the asylum or whatever, but never really made it out of there. But she wasn't really like scared of everything. Meanwhile, I'm like, man, these are some spooky skeletons, huh? And she's like, oh man, I played Minecraft. I've seen a skeleton before.
They don't have muscles. What the fuck are they gonna do to me?
Pretty much.
Shouldn't even be able to move.
But I say he's not an asshole as long as he is very tight on the games he suggests. for the son to beat. It can't just be any dumb bullshit. You can't be like, oh, I completed Sonic the Heroes or whatever. You know, I don't care about Sonic Heroes on the GameCube, but if you can beat Dark Souls 1, I'll give you $50.
If you can beat Through the Fire and Flames on Expert, here's a 50.
I will give you $50 if you can beat Through the Fire and Flames on Expert. But I'm checking to make sure there's no cheats on.
No, I mean no, because they can put the cheat on for hyperspeed. That's fine.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? My little sister came through, and she had her two sons, and my mom was here too. And she they cleaned my fucking kitchen while I watched them, and so I sat there, like fucking distracting.
Oh, that's why the house looks so nice.
Yeah, my house normally looks like a fucking pigsty. It looks like a single man lives in it. So the kids were in here and they were like, "Hey, can we play your video games? We want to play Rock Band." I'm like, "No, no, you're not playing my $300 fucking plastic fake drums because you're gonna break them." But then they were like, they saw my Switch and they were like, "Oh my god, is that a Nintendo Switch?" Because they don't have one. And so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll set up Mario Kart. You know, I'll see what happens." Well, one of them is really young. I don't know how young he is, but he's very young. Like where the Joy-Con looks like a normal size controller in his hands, right?
Surprisingly young.
And so I gave them both the Joy-Cons, and turns out the little one has no idea what to fucking do. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't consider this." So I was like, "Okay, it's this one to go, this one to like move this, and you can go left and right."
Mario Kart has a baby mode on it.
Well, yeah, they were on baby mode too. So they were, because the other one was too old for it. And he was just getting first place every time. So he was like fucking creaming everyone. But when the kid, I was watching him like learn. Like he'd do something and he'd look up and he'd start going. And he'd be like, "Holy shit!" And he'd look at me and I'd be like, "Good job!" And he'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm doing it!" And then he'd just drive into the wall for the whole race. But he was going. He learned how to go. And then at the end of the race, they both had to like go confirm or whatever, or maybe he was player one. And I was like, "You remember that button that made you go fast?" And he was like, "Boop," and he hit it, and it went past, and it went ahead. And he was just like, he looked at me like, "Oh my god, I did it!" And I'm just like, "Wow, children are magical." Like I don't know what the end of the story was, but it was fun. I don't know what that contributed to anything.
I like to see that.
I like that story.
But yeah. I don't think we have anything more to say about this guy. I don't think there's any assholes here as long as it doesn't get out of control.
Yeah, and obviously communication between the parents and figuring out, like being on the same page as what you're doing, right?
I bet Dick Mufflebush is really good at communicating with his wife.
I think that's a throwaway account. I did not check his other post though.
I hope not. Yeah, I don't even the wife isn't an asshole, I don't think, because like that's totally understandable.
He handled it really well, actually. I'd be like, "Why are you giving our 7-year-old $100? What are you doing?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm checking Dick Mufflebush to see if he has any other posts.
I was immediately doing that too. This is not a throwaway account.
Oh no, this
look
is
at his Mega Man account.
He's look at this Mega Man thing. Yeah. Oh man, this guy's he's a diehard. He's a true
gamer.
gamer. Robert, look at this.
Whoa, he's got a Ninja Turtles one too.
Wait, where am I? What am I looking at right now?
Oh no, wait. He's just commenting on these.
Oh, this isn't his post?
These aren't his stuff. Oh wait, no, this is his post.
He built it, yeah.
He's just also commenting. Okay. This is cool.
The Nintendo setup is really nice.
Arcade's wild. They're just arcade games and arcade games.
Holy shit, dude. We need to get this guy on the show.
Dick Mufflebush?
Yeah,
right, save in the notes.
Dick Mufflebush.
God.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert, you've been replaced.
I don't know why we.
It's fine. I'm not pulling my weight in this episode. I'm literally just listening to the podcast most of this episode and then laughing. That's been my contributions. But I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
All right, we're gonna need you to carry us once we get into the meat, which I think it's time. The music plays. All right, do you need a break?
I do need a break. Yeah.
And we're back.
Oh boy.
You can take a break. No, we're gonna look at.
If you can't tell, I'm getting I have a cough. So
you're good.
Water. I also have a cough because I chugged a coffee, and I realized that's why they're named after coughing. Because
are those amiibos or are those action figures down there?
I don't know. I'm looking at the thing above it with the banana box that says "Don't fucking touch. I will fuck you up." written on the banana box.
Is this guy online? Can we message him right now?
I don't think we can see if he's online.
Nope, but I sent him a message anyways. Yeah. I just sent him a message.
Oh, I see it right here. Hey man, I saw your Am I the Asshole post. I really liked it. We featured it on our podcast.
Oh, we're logged into the same account?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's so stupid.
And then it's like, oh, he's like, what's your podcast? And our account name is Gaming Together Pod.
Yeah. Oh man, life is stupid. He's also talking about Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, look at his fucking picture. What is that?
This guy's really cool.
He's probably like 50.
His background is cheese balls, and his picture is I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
It looks like a guy. Is that the Back to the Future guy?
I thought it was the guy who played Shaggy in the live-action Scooby-Doo movie. You remember that one?
Yes.
You really, or are you just saying that?
No, I remember it.
That's the one where Velma put on the latex, and then my little boy brain didn't know how to understand that. I was like, what are these feelings that I'm feeling right now? I didn't expect to feel in the Scooby-Doo movie.
Me and Jana were talking about that. Not sexy Scooby-Doo, but sexual awakening as a child. I forgot what. Oh, it was because there's suggestive characters in Raymond, as it turns out. And
yeah, dude, they're fucking. Rayman is horny. Come to find out,
I know. And I'm like, yeah, I guess, but I forgot what it was exactly. Oh, we were talking about animated Batman.
Is that what Jana woke up to, or are you talking about Harley Quinn?
She referenced him. I don't know. No, I was like, she referenced it. I'm like, yeah, he's a sex symbol for obviously. But I referenced another possible sex symbol in Mario, as in seeing that masculine mustache and those, white gloves. Something about it just gets it going. But then we had to elevate and be like, well, actually, I think I almost said Yu-Gi-Oh! Luigi is the sexier version of Mario, I think. This isn't like a fat shaming thing or anything, but I just think that the taller man kind of does it.
That's really funny that you bring that up, because there is a Doug video called Mario Speedrun, but if I look at Mario's nipples, I watched that one too. Run. Oh, yeah, God. And Sexy Mario is on that too, and he's just moving. He's like this fucking chubby, hairy guy. Fucking, it's moving on the screen. It's so funny. God, I love Doug so much. But I went to a Lamb of God show just recently. I referenced it already. But it was really fucking good with the Acadia Strain. I don't know. I know you two probably don't listen to metal, but those are two pretty fucking good bands. And the whole time, Don, Trey, and Jesse, my friends, they called me up and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing today? You want to hang out? We haven't seen you in 2 months." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, but I'm going to a concert today, so we only have like an hour." And then they ended up just buying tickets to the show and went with me. We carpooled in my car, which was super cool. But so I've been to like their only 3 shows, basically. Like I've been like their chaperone. And I'm just like showing them around every time it's a different venue. So I'm showing them around the venue and shit. It's neat. Yeah. Well, legitimately, they're like, "Hey, where's the bathroom? I'm about to piss myself. It's my 3rd beer. I'm $50 down," because they're $12, $14 beers. But yeah, it's terrible. But oh shit, what was I gonna say? Oh, so like they never go into the pit. They're little fucking bitches. And like there's like little girls in the pit, like fucking thrashing and shit. And Don, Trey, and Jesse are both twice as big as me. So I'm a little stick man, and I'm running around in the pit. Now, granted, I did get punched in the mouth and started bleeding, and I collided heads with somebody, and I think I might have broken a toe. But that was a very violent pit, all right? And also, it was the one pit, but so the toe thing, I crowd surfed 3 times that night. And the 3rd time I crowd surfed, I landed really weird on my fucking foot. Like the guard that caught me, because you crowd surf to the front of the like where the stage is, and there's a bunch of security there, and they'll catch you and put you down. But the guy that caught me both of his arms on like my torso shoulder area, so my feet just flang down like really hard onto the ground, and then I bent a toe or something. I don't know what I did, but as soon as I started running, my foot was like owie, and as soon as I went back into the pit, my foot was like extra owie, and I'm like, oh no, I hope I didn't hurt my foot, because I literally walk for a living. Like that's my job. I walk around all day. and it has been painful, but it's okay. So Jesse and Dontre were like, who are you taking up to the concert? And I'm like, nobody. And they're like, fucking really? You're going out to all these shows alone? And I'm like, yes. They're like, that's so sad. But it's cool though, because all of these shows, it's Oklahoma's a pretty like, it's like a echo chamber almost for metal. Like you see a lot of the same people. Right. And so you end up like running into them in the pit all the time, being like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And talking to them. Everyone's very friendly at metal shows, unlike almost any other genre of music somehow. The thing is that like I was telling them, I'm like, almost all of these shows, I'll meet someone that I actually know. Like I'll run into someone from high school, or like I'll run into someone I used to work with, because I am a very noticeable looking person. I look like Jesus a little bit. I look like heavy metal Jesus. And so we were in the crowd before the first band showed up, and as I explained that, Jedediah from high school, I don't know if you remember him, he shows up and he grabs my shoulder and he's like, Austin?
Yeah.
And I look at him, and the funny thing is that he's in between the stage and me, so all I see is his silhouette because the lights are shining right in front of him. And so I'm like, Dad? Trying to fucking figure out who it is. But yeah, is my father actually Jesus? But it was really funny. I was like, I almost always run into somebody and I just hang out with them the whole time. And then Jed grabs me on the shoulder like a fucking sitcom. I also got 2 guitar picks. I got both guitarists' guitar picks. Yeah. Well, I actually got 3. But so this was the thing. The guitarist on the right just grabbed, he had like a handful of picks and he threw them like right over me. And I was like, oh shit. And I caught one in the air. And then I didn't know if I caught it yet because it was like one swift motion. But I snatched at one. And then one landed on my foot. And I just hit my mic. But like I slammed my hand on the ground. And then a woman was right next to me and she slammed her hand down on top of my hand.
And then you look in each other's eyes.
Because she was going for that same
Jed.
thing. Yeah, and then we made out. But like, it was Jed. Yeah, me and Jed made out. So she was like, damn it, and she got up to walk away. And I was like, no, you can have it. I got one. I already got one. I have 2 now. And so that was a cool moment too. I like everyone's so fucking nice at concerts.
It sounds like you had a good time.
Oh, it was so good, man. That's the only time I feel happy. Is when I'm in live, as soon as I walk in, I'm like, oh, I think I'm happy. And then I walk into a live venue and I actually feel something. I'm like, oh my God, this is happiness. Actually, this is what people feel like all the time, normally in day-to-day life. When they get like a Twinkie or whatever, an espresso, double shot, grande, verde, when they see their children.
Yeah.
I'm very sad. I'm a sad guy.
Sad.
Start would go. Continue the show.
We're
Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
There you go. Perfect.
Developed by Blizzard. Released.
We're not going to talk about
November.
Phil.
What?
I feel like Philip was going to do a response, but right now I'm just convinced that
at this point we're like an hour and
Philip
34
being
minutes
around his kids doesn't bring us happiness is what I got from that whole
No, I'm happy with my kids. Like I'm always worried
that joke was for
about
Nave.
bad things happening to him. Like I had a nap earlier before the pod. I had a dream that one of my other kids gave a pencil to my youngest, and he was running with it and fell and stabbed into his eye. But don't worry, because my kids came and told me and said that mom was getting the blood out, so it's going to be okay. And I'm like, oh my God. But then I woke up and Arthur was literally like laying on my pillow, ass in my face. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, professional fear now. Gotcha.
Dude, I also had a bad dream last night.
Speaking of fear, Hearthstone.
I was driving in a super dark area, and I was talking to someone. They were in my passenger seat, and I kept losing control of the car. Like you know how you feel whenever you're really tired and you're driving? You know what I mean? And you're like fading in and out, like, and you like wake up and you're like, oh shit, I'm not where I thought I was. I was doing that, but I was wide awake, and I kept drifting into the curb and bumping into it. And like there were a bunch of scary ass trees, like from fucking Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights trees on my right. And I was and my friends were like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm fine. I'm awake. And I don't know why and it felt like I was losing control over and over and over again, even though I felt like I was aware. And I was like watching it happen, but I couldn't turn the wheel.
You had stick drift in real life?
Yeah, I had stick drift in fucking real life, dude. Write in if ever anyone who's good at interpreting dreams. Write in. What's wrong with Nave?
Also, you have any experience shitting in the bathtub? Write in as well.
Yeah, how do you
Alright.
shit in the
No-
bathtub?
Yeah, how do you shit in the bathtub? Released November 2019 was for Battlegrounds, but Hearthstone was already released way back in 2014, so it's old. Store description: are you ready to take your skills to the Battlegrounds? You and 7 other competitors take on the roles of familiar heroes straight out of WoW history. Craft powerful boards of recruited minions and duel in this auto battler until a single winner is crowned! Exclamation point.
Dude,
Free.
I want to edit like the trailer of Hearthstone Battlegrounds with Philip reading that exactly how you read. Like, are you ready to take? Are you ready to take your skills to the Battlegrounds?
Yeah. It's so whatever.
And
So history with the series. I'll take this real quick. I played a little bit of WoW back in the day. I really like the WoW style. I think everything is fucking butt ugly and all the monsters are dumb looking, but I love it. I think everything's ugly and bad looking.
You don't like the
But I
cowboys?
really no. I think all the Murlocs, everything's so ugly, but I like it. I like their style. I like that they have style, and not everything's just pretty Asian MMO like Black Desert or something. You know, I prefer
it's a
the
variety.
trashiness of World of Warcraft compared to the refined Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the trashiness of PSO, the giant anime boobs and the cat girls. Like, I don't know,
Honestly, I might like World of Warcraft better.
dude. All I'm saying is, when Final Fantasy 14 comes to Xbox, I'm gonna be a bunny girl, and I'm gonna live my best life.
I'm probably gonna be a midget. The
Of
little
course.
midget race.
Of
Yeah.
course, as is tradition.
Yeah, like we do. But so my history, I played Hearthstone whenever it first came to like app stores and all that stuff, and I thought, hey, this is pretty good, but I'm gonna go play Elder Scrolls Legends instead or some shit like that. Like I had other card games that I wanted to play. Nave, history of the series.
I also played Hearthstone when it first came out, and I was deep into Magic the Gathering at that point, and so it's really hard to have 2 card games in your life because one's
Yeah.
going to get neglected, and you're going to know it's being neglected. So I went with real life cards, but I thought it was okay.
Now, Azir, you famously have another podcast, or used to, about a card game, correct?
We our whole thing was about the original one. What our original podcast was about a card game, but I will not mention it. It doesn't have to be mentioned. Here.
Yeah, I know. It's
but-
just funny every time it comes up. Like, yeah, we don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, no. It's with Hearthstone itself. I was a top 300 North American player at one point. So there you go.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
How much did you have to play for that? Like
What's,
hour wise, would you say?
wait, what are you saying? Money wise? Wait,
No, play.
play?
Sorry, I have
Well,
a
'cause-
terrible speech pattern.
So when I was in university, they had like a tournament where like you could win scholarship money if like you represent your university against other TESPA. Have you heard of TESPA? Yes, no, maybe.
no.
But anyway, you play against other universities and then like there'd be prize money and stuff. So I played a whole bunch for that, and while I was playing that, that's when I ranked up really high. And then got really into it because you play actual tournaments, which is far more interesting. Where you have 4 decks, you ban one of your opponents, and you have 3 decks, and each of those decks have to win once, right? So it's like a reverse
Oh,
best
okay,
of
that's pretty
5,
cool.
if that makes sense. So like you're kind of judged on the quality of each of your decks being able to make it through instead of just having one deck that beats everything. So that was really cool. But when it comes to Battlegrounds itself, I essentially like looked into Hearthstone again because like every new season rolls around and I'm like, this is the one esport I can do when I'm 50, right? So I'm always like, should I take it seriously? But then Battlegrounds happened, and now it's just become my like auto game, if that makes sense. Like it's just the background game for like I don't want to do it. It's a multiplayer game, but I don't have to like load up anything, my computer or Switch or whatever, and I can do other stuff while I play it too. So that's kind of the bonus as well.
So I had not played it before. I reached out to you and you said like, "Hey, let's play this." It's not really co-op, but we just really like card games on this pod, so
This is like
deal with it.
kind of a card game.
Yeah. So me and Nave hadn't played this before. I put in our game times or a little like game menu things or whatever. So I put in 12 hours. Nave put in 10
I
hours.
should look.
And if you were to, are you going to pull up your?
I'm gonna look it up on
time?
my phone here, but keep going.
Which Nave, I see you also had a very long win streak in this.
Yes.
Like Jono pointed out that we both like, or that my win streak was quite long with 13. You're sitting at 11.
Yep.
So it's not hard to be in the top 4
No,
to count
no,
as a win.
top 4. But what ends up happening is if like even if you're 4th, you get like 1 point. You know what I mean? So if you actually want to rank up, you kind of need to like top 2 is really where it's at. Top 1 if possible at all. And what I found as well is like there's a certain point when the game kind of settles, because literally today or yesterday they reset, and we'll talk about that in a second. That's kind of messed up any perception of what the game was for you guys kind of going into it new. But I was going to say that I found that as you get up, like really early on, as long as you kind of just stick to one plan, it's a good plan. Does that make sense? Like to get top 4, you can just stick to one plan. What ends up happening,
you'll get top 4 if you're
what were you gonna say?
No, that's just as long as you commit and don't just like buy random bullshit, you'll usually be better than the average guy that's buying random bullshit.
I have too many hours to mention on the podcast. I have more hours in this than like FIFA games I've played yearly, so that's telling you something.
I have like literally 3 months of hours of time in Rock Band 4, a game that no one even knows exists.
I've been first 144 times. There you
go. Look at you.
But
all right, let's do some math.
That's more than me and Phil combined.
I know. Like I got first 6 times, and that took me 12 hours. So on average, if we have similar skills, like quick Nave, do the math. How many more hours would it take me to get up? 1 win every 2 hours?
It's 6 wins in 12 hours. That's literally those are divisible, Philip.
Well, how many wins did he have?
These are first places, right?
Yeah, first places.
Okay.
100. So every 2 hours you get another win. So it's 200 hours minus 12.
So 100 and
wait, no, it's 2,000 hours minus 12.
Whoa, 2,000!
No, it's not that. It's 500. It's 500 hours. Okay. But I was gonna say I think what ends up happening is like as you go up, because there's a skill rating. Once you get into the 5K, 6K, up to 4K, like you can pretty much just do whatever, and you don't really get punished for it. What ends up happening is like there's this idea of the mid game or the early game in the 6K where it's just like, oh no, I need to like I don't just have my plan, I just need to see what other people are doing so I don't just die right away, because you just end up dying a lot faster as you go up in those ranks, I guess is my point. You can't get away with just doing whatever or doing one plan. You kind of have to be like, okay, just grab stuff this turn. Like there's certain turns you're like, this is not what I need, but I just need something right now instead of wasting like not buying
just survive almost.
Yeah. So
all right, so let's get into the quick little components about this, because this is an auto battler, much like your TFTs and your Dota.
Is the response to those auto battlers really? Is Blizzard being like, oh, these are really popular, can we do this? Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to analyze the stats?
What stats? I mean,
stats.
What's more to go into? Like, what we got 6 first places. What?
I think what's interesting is you got 6 first places in 12 hours, and I got 4 in 10, which means I think you were outpacing me. But
what's interesting is you got almost over twice the number of triples that I did.
Yeah, you got 41 and I got 93.
Tavern upgrades, but I also played an extra 2 hours.
What's your longest win streaks in the 12?
13 and 11.
Mine is 11, yeah.
Mine's at 13.
I literally did
like
2 games ago.
Maybe I just started playing worse when I got up, or are people like it's just hard to get?
No, I bet you just reached a higher elo of players. Yeah. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Another thing is that your win streak continues if you get a tie, which is a lot more common than in like League of Legends, whatever it's called. But in this game, when you tie, the win streak continues, but it doesn't go up. So in the game that I got 11 wins, I actually went like 17 fights in a row without losing. And then I ended up getting second place because the guy who just suddenly got really like he got exactly what he needed to fucking murder me or something. I don't know what he did, but I feel like like when we're looking, we have like very similar minion damage and highest minion. So all of this other stuff looks very similar. I was wondering if the hours played counts me sitting in the Battlegrounds menu, not continuing, because I did that a lot. Because I've only played this game for 1 day.
I don't think so.
And I don't think I played it for 10 hours in 1 day. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Maybe then.
I played it when I got home from work around 3 yesterday. I was like, okay, time to play some Battlegrounds. And then I did that all day until like 11. So it was like from 3:30 or 4, because I also ate and watched YouTube and stuff. So let's say 4 o'clock to 11. So that's about 7 hours.
Is it not the most perfect like watching TV game that you've ever had?
Oh yeah.
Because you can
I was
actually
definitely
focus on
chilling
what the
on TV.
show's happening, and then every like minute or two, you just like click over.
Yeah.
What it is like, you know those like games that used to be like you build random things and like come back in 12 hours. It's like that except truncated, like a lot smaller. You know,
Oh,
Like an idle
games.
type games.
idle
Yeah.
games. Yeah, it's a semi-idle game in my opinion. It's a minute idle game.
And it's also not complex, like even a little bit. So like it's not like chess. Because in chess you can do that too. You can like look up, but like if you look up, you're not analyzing the board anymore and like figuring out what the fuck. You can't look away from a chessboard and be okay. Because even though it's not your turn, you got to be like fucking figuring out what might happen and how you might move and stuff like that. In this game, I was like, I would play something and then I just look away and I would not look back. And as soon as the round would be over, I hear the noise of the tavern keeper. I'd be like, did I win? And I'd look at the thing, like, oh fuck, I
You had
lost.
to look.
Damn.
Yeah.
Because it's like
All right, well,
you just realize like really quickly, I think, when you're playing this game that once you kind of decide to do something, you have to stick with it. Like there's a certain point that it's like, okay, I'm just going for this one type of minion, because if I try to do anything else at this point, it's just actually worse. And so once you're in that zone, once you've kind of figured out, you also like if you click on the other people, right, you can see what they're doing. So that's also a hint, like just to make sure you're not doing what other people are doing, because then there's less of those things. But once you're kind of on your path, then it's really like within 5 seconds, I know exactly what I'm doing, and then I'm already like looking away from it. So
yeah. So if we were just going to compare this to other auto battlers, like as far as complexity, you think this is like, have you guys played TFT? I know Nave has.
it has the same
Robert?
concepts, like the three, right? I think that's a pretty common one, like 3 things. This one reminds me more of the original game. Like it has more Hearthstone elements to it. Like it has the same keywords as Hearthstone does. So that's probably where it changes in complexity. So I think this could be overwhelming for someone who's never played Hearthstone or never played a card game, because it's a lot of text-based effects.
If you've never played a card game,
I
think this is probably, I don't know what the original auto chess is like, but this is infinitely more approachable than Teamfight Tactics.
Okay, there you go.
I think so too.
Okay.
Well, because
Like this is way simpler than TFT.
Because in this game, you can have like, it's like, oh, I want the boars, and you're like, okay, just anyone that's a boar, grab it, cool, you know. And then, but in Teamfight Tactics, you have like 4 times as many keywords that you got to pay. Not keywords, but like different traits. Like so, it's like all the characters are at least 2. You know what I mean? Some are 3. So it's like, this is a gunner assassin, and this is a tank healer. And you're just like, okay, I have 2 healers, but I don't need any more tanks. Because if I get a tank, I'm going to be encouraged to get another tank, because I need 2 tanks to get the thing, and then I got to do this thing. In this game, none of that matters. There's no synergies in that type. All the synergies are written on the cards, and I think that that's easier to understand at first glance. At any glance. Like
you play
it's
1
so
or
much
2, you're
more
good to go,
legible.
pretty much, right? Like once you play like 2 or 3 games, I feel like you kind of get it, right? And then it gets a little more complex.
Out, like second game.
Yeah.
First game, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Second game, I'm like, I know what I'm doing now.
And that's why like
this isn't that.
a new season happened right now, so I'm always like a little overwhelmed, because it's become a game that I don't think, like the whole goal is to like play the game but not like worry too much. And then they're like, new season, random stuff, and I'm like, but then I think it's actually good right now, because it's doing like every game has like a different gimmick essentially that you have to go through, so it's making a little wrinkle, you know, in the plans.
Yeah,
I actually
level
like
7.
that a lot. At first, I did not understand what was happening. So, like, one match, I had 10 gold, and I was like, oh, the fucking game is bugged or something, idiot fucking developers, and I just played that way. But eventually I realized, like, there's one that I didn't understand until it was too late, where it was like, the minion on the left and the minion on the right, you combine their attacks, so you want to put, like, a heavy one on one side and a light one on the other, so that the light one gets way stronger way fast, and I didn't understand that at all. And then I ended up getting my shit kicked in. But there are some really interesting ones, like they're like, oh, these are only dragons in this game, or like, oh, this game every time you buy a minion you get 2 instead of 1 for the first one you buy. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's how you get your triples. I'm gonna fucking bang out some triples. And I usually won those too. When I would like, those are probably 2 of my 4 wins. And I think you get a win at the beginning. Did we both get a win right? Like, I think our first match counts as a first place, I'm pretty sure. Because I had a first place win, and I couldn't remember if I had gotten first place, and I was like, I think I would have remembered.
Maybe this is a tutorial game?
I'd won.
Do they make you play?
Yeah, it's a tutorial game.
Okay, they give you the first place for the tutorial game. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. So let's go through the components that make this kind of like make up the game.
Mhm.
There's your field. This is where you put all your dudes. You can have up to 7 of them. Whenever you go into the battle phase, they attack from left to right, which I didn't realize this at first, so I was just throwing people wherever. But you do want people to attack in a certain
Yeah.
order, because a lot of people will have like passive effects the longer they're alive. Where it's like, hey, avenge minions if they happen or whatever. So you want that guy on the far right so that he gets as many stacks or whatever procs as you can get as possible.
It's also like if there are people who have triggers when they die, it's like when I die I spawn a zombie, so you want that guy on the left so he attacks right away and most likely gets killed by the strongest dude. And I have no fucking idea what the algorithm is for fucking attacking. Yeah, like I know that there's a specific kind of card that's taunts, and it's obvious they look like a shield, and it's like, okay, everyone's gonna attack that guy first. But then after that, I'm like,
No,
like, it's random.
It's literally random. So
okay,
yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like it feels like they did it the way that the fucking fight went. I'm like, of course, I fucking tied and I was winning, and then they just didn't attack the strong guy over and over again, and then I got killed.
So unless like your card literally says like attack the weakest minion or stuff like that, unlike actual Hearthstone where you choose your attack, right here it's all random.
Yeah.
So that's the auto battler element of it is the random attacks and the random like who hits first. I think if you have more minions, you attack first. Although I'm not 100% on that. But if you have the same,
that would make sense.
If you have the same amount of minions, then it's a random one as well. Maybe not. Maybe so, I actually haven't looked into that. Maybe it's the person who's like doing worse or something. I don't know. I should look into it.
Coins. So you start with 3 and then increases by 1 each turn until you have 10. Does not carry over each round. So this is interesting. In like TFT, you build interest the more gold you have just sitting in your pocket. So sometimes it's better not to buy. In this, it's like you need to spend all your money every round.
Yeah, we're in teamfight tactics. You're actively incentivized to not spend all your money. You're incentivized to hoard stuff, and then so that was a really weird hurdle I had to get over the first like 2 games.
Yeah, you have to just keep going and freeze. Use that freeze thing essentially. If you have 2 gold left, use it and find something that you want next turn, and then you freeze, and then you do grab it next turn, right?
Yep.
That, or you can spend an upgrade to upgrade the tiers of units you have. Another kind of strategy I use a lot is buying units just to sell them the next round to give me more money then.
Yeah, like, because there are some pirates that sell for more, or like there's some people who trigger when they sell. Like there's these things called the blood rocks or whatever. I don't know. They give you +1/+1, and if you sell, you get 2 of them. There's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So an early strategy sometimes, like to get like your next tier as fast as possible, is you get the things you know you're gonna sell really quickly, and then like in turn like 2 or 3 or whatever, you sell them, and then you can get like a tier 2 minion faster. Like there's stuff like that. We're just ramping, which is essentially just ramping, right? In card games.
Yeah. So your hand, you can have up to 10 cards in your hand, and it can be played anytime during your turn out of combat. No cost or anything. Oh, I didn't highlight. In the store, all minions cost 3 gold, unless otherwise stated. I think that's really interesting because, once again, in TFT, that is not how it is. Every minion has different values.
Yeah, the stronger they are, the more expensive they cost.
I think that's so cool because then, like, you see 2 6 costs or 6 stars pop up or whatever. You're like, I'm going to grab them. Like, might as well if I have the gold.
I think synergy's too strong though. Like that's probably the big difference in this game is that it's great. There's a bunch of 6 stars, and usually by themselves they're way better than other cards. But if you don't have the synergies for them, like if you don't have the rest of the kit for it, then like getting a 6 star for the type that you're not using isn't as useful.
You also, another thing in teamfight tactics, when you sell when you sell a high tier unit, you get more money back. In this game, every unit sells for 1 gold no matter what, unless stated on the card.
Yeah. Also, at the beginning of the game, you get a choice between a random champion or hero to play as. I love this.
I like
nothing like this in TFT. This little bit of randomness, it lets you choose your strategy for like the rest of the game, or a partial strategy, where they each have like a unique ability based on them. Like if you're the Lich King, you get to give a random unit, or not a random unit, you select a unit and give them Reborn, which lets them come back to life as like a 1/1 or something like that when they die. Which you think like, oh, that's not very good. But if that Reborn character has a cool effect or something like that,
is the unit you want
to
survive.
Stay as long.
Yeah.
It's like basically guaranteeing this guy a second life throughout the game. So good.
So what were some of our favorite abilities then?
I mean, there was one guy that was like, give all your units randomly +1/+1
Yeah, and then every time
permanently.
you upgrade it,
and every time it goes up. That I won with that guy, and I'm like, this is so overpowered because like I think I only had like 4 characters on the board, but they were like 140, 150. You know, they were like so beefy that unless they had like a venomous on the enemy team or vicious or whatever it's called,
venomous,
poison, whatever, I don't know what the trait is. There was no way for me to be stopped because my guys were just too healthy.
So I won with. Okay, so first of all, I think one of my favorite abilities is Banana. Banana Boy.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, because I remember whenever an enemy, what the banana does is there are some abilities that are active, and then there are some that are passive that are just always affecting. And so the banana guy, he gives everybody a banana that can be put on a unit to give him +1/+1. But the banana guy gets a second banana that's big banana. That's a 2/2, and I'm just like, oh boy. And I remember the first game I played where that banana popped in my thing. I'm like, the fuck is this? And
why do I have a banana?
I was looking at it, and then it happened again, and I'm like, and I looked at the mission because you could see what the variant of the match is. I'm like, no, it's not this. What the fuck is happening? And then I saw eventually I fought the monkey guy, and I was like, monkey, and I looked at his fucking massive, and I was like, it's the banana. Wow,
oh god,
incredible. So I won with the pyramid guy though. The pyramid guy is pretty cool. Because his ability is you can give one character +1/+1, but every and it's a free ability, so you don't have to pay any gold for it. A lot of these abilities you have to pay 1 gold. I don't know if there's any more for 2 or whatever, but most of them are for 1. But this one's a free ability. But if you don't use it for a turn, then it goes +1/+2 or +2/+2, then +3/+3, then +4/+4, and it just keeps getting higher until you decide to start using it. And I ended up winning with that guy and combined with the boars because I was using that along with all of the spells and the bloodstones, and I thought that was incredible. So we'll talk about this in the minions and stuff, so I won't even say that yet. But after that, I liked the character that what was it? This guy. Yeah, I'm trying to see what he does.
Oh, handsome Squidward?
No, he's the tree guy. He's the tree guy, undead dude with the hand that's green. You know what I'm talking about?
No. What's he look like?
That's what he looks like. He's a tree guy, and he's got a... Hold on, I'll flip through the fucking things.
What's his ability, then?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I just remembered that I liked his ability, because I played him 3 times. Because every time he popped up, I was like, ooh, that guy.
I think...
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there we go. What does he do?
Gives your what? This isn't right.
Wrong tree guy. There's a lot of trees. I feel that are.
There's so many characters. There's a lot of characters.
No, this is the guy. Okay, so what he does is he has a passive. So this is always active, and he gives +1/+2 and taunt to minions you summon during combat.
Oh
so
yeah,
that guy's really good too.
Any minion that dies and has an ability that triggers that fuck. Yeah, it was with beasts. It was with beasts, dude. It was so fucking strong, dude. And so every time it's like if a creature dies and then spawns another one, there are 2 things that do that. You can either spawn like a random generic token when you die, or you can respawn with the Undying or whatever it's called. It's Undying in Magic the Gathering. And so as soon as that happens, you spawn during combat. So then you get +1/+2, but they're already super buff. And also, you have all these abilities for when you spawn creatures in. All these triggers happen at once.
Double attack,
and then
those,
and then those guys that just came back are obviously the weaker ones because they just showed up, and they get taunt, which means everyone has to attack them first. And then it fucking cascades into this insane cacophony. It was so fun every time I did it.
I think
always try to get him.
I think beasts are one of those.
Zero, do you have some favorites?
Some favorites like powers. Oh, any power that gets you cards into your hand or that ramps you up is probably gonna do it. That one feels overpowered because the taunt, like the +1 whatever, isn't actually the big thing. The fact that you when you spawn units, they taunt, that's the big thing because it keeps the units that actually do the special abilities alive, right?
Yeah, dude.
So it's that's definitely, I think that one's overpowered. And I don't think there's any way to actually like not make it overpowered. Like I feel like that will always be one of the strongest ones. Some of the like pirate ones, right? Like so one that's like crazy, but you actually have to be involved in the game. You can't just sit back. Is the pirate one that like when you play a pirate, you have a hero power that you know get a random pirate for three gold or 3 coins or whatever. But every time you buy a pirate, it goes down, right? So it's really easy to get triple pirates essentially, and you just go through the whole pirate thing really quickly. That one's pretty broken. I think there's just a couple that are. I'm trying to think of some other ones that are good.
I'm remembering one that where you're a little goblin with a cauldron, and you essentially cook a minion in the tavern. Like, so you just kill a minion in the tavern, and once you kill 3 of them, you get for free a minion
one of them
of the types that they were. And specifically, this is a match that I got second place in, but it was an only Naga like game, so only Naga cards were popping up, and so I was cooking. Like I was fucking cooking.
A lot of free Naga.
Yeah, and so since you get to choose and it's only that one type, I almost always got a really good one. I'm like, ooh, don't mind if I do for free. You know what I mean? It was so fucking good. There's another one that's like you get a 6-cost card for free, but you can't play it until you pay 65 gold. And at first, when I first did that, I screwed it up, and I don't know what I did wrong. And so it's like I tried to force boars, but at first I wasn't going boar, but I realized my 6 cost was a boar, and I was like, oh fuck, I need to pivot, and that was a mistake, and then I died really fast. But then the second time I got it, it was really cool because the synergy of that card needing to spend 65 gold. I needed to spend 65 gold to get the card. But on top of that, the variant of the match that I got was everyone starts at 10 gold. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to speed racer that fucking card out, and it's going to be great. And it was a boar. The one that says, the one that has battle cry, all your bloodstones get +1/+1 permanently, and it has death whatever, all death rattle, all your bloodstones get +1/+1 permanently. I was like, oh my God. And I ended up getting first place.
So many
game.
stacks.
I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna go so fast. And it was brutal.
Besides your unique ability, you can also get like a second ability or passive through the quest that pops up around round 4 or 5, maybe.
That was So
it'll be like, hey,
they had that up till literally yesterday, and then yesterday they got rid of.
I was gonna say, I played a few games today, and they didn't have it in there.
So they rotate this stuff in and out. Like it's stuff that comes back in like 2 or 3 weeks, and it actually does keep it interesting because you just have to readjust.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, then disregard that. It's gone now. Apparently, let's talk about the minions. So they all have health, attack, their ranks, and their types, and banana. The types, though, I think we could do some good type talk. So there's the beast. You mentioned them earlier. These are just critters. They really good at summoning more critters. I like these ones.
I think
dumb
beasts,
and green.
There was a while where I just if there's beasts, I just play that. Like it was it's usually my most favorite one, and then you kind of run to the problem because everyone else wants to play beasts. So you just have a bunch of people playing beasts, and it's so
easy. They just spawn themselves when you put them out there.
You run to that.
I never saw people playing beasts.
Oh, I had this problem once where like for a while, just every time there was beasts, like 5 or 6 people would just play beasts. I think with undead it's a little better because I think undead, it doesn't do exactly what beast does, but it does it similar. Like if you like things popping up and then getting like having more attack and stuff, those are the 2 classes that do that, and I have the most fun playing those classes because I like big numbers and
I really like undead too because a lot of them are like they have a skeleton that's like every time you summon something in combat, it gains like +2 health or something like that. So it gets so big so fast. Yeah, it's just a big beefy skeleton with low attack.
Or like the ones where it's like every time a minion dies, you get +1/+1. So then if you have that minion on the field and you're playing undead, it's just like your whole goal is to get all these really small minions to die a million times, and then your big guy gets bigger.
And then he gets killed by one venomous guy.
Yeah.
And I laugh.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
I laugh in
I never saw people play mechs really.
Oh my goodness,
mechs
are so fun. They're the best.
I like playing them. I didn't get to do them a lot. I think I did like 1 match whenever I was able to run mechs well, but I never saw anyone else bother using them.
You just have to learn the like you can magnetize mechs, right? So if you put on the right side, it does it. But the magnetizing, that's a whole game. It's just magnetizing, and then like they have stuff where it's like, oh, you magnetize it and then you get +1 gold, or you magnetize it goes up +1, and then you get trigger your end of turn effects. There's like a card that's a 5 cost card, and so you can double those end of turn effects, and there's stuff like that.
Oh man!
So it's a lot.
I used that guy in one of my undead ones.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Did you have an effect that actually like synergized with it, or?
Yeah, or not undead, the pigs.
The pig, yes,
I had two pigs that gave me blood things at the end, and I just bought that guy. And I was like, I'm just going to use this guy while I have these two.
And then you doubles it.
I was getting like a full hand of bloodstones for like 5.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, I'm cooking. I don't know if you guys can tell listeners, but turns out I like this one. Like I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not. I held off for a long time. I gaslit Philip for the longest time.
Dude, I thought you didn't like it. I was like, oh no, Nave doesn't like it. He used to like. I'm like, hey, you play Hearthstone? He's like, game bad. It's just the only
he
thing
doesn't
he
like
says.
Hearthstone. The battlegrounds are fine though.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Philip, in one sentence, was like, "We got to record on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Also play Hearthstone." And I was like, "Okay, the game's terrible." And I didn't elaborate on what game, and then I just left, and I never replied. And so, but I meant Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in which case me and Philip agreed. But yeah. So mechs are interesting because it was fun too. I mean, it was interesting too because you guys were like, undead and beasts are the ones that spawn all the dudes. Mech is also. They spawn so many little dudes.
Bots.
Oh, they're so fucking annoying, dude. Oh my lord. It just makes the match go so long.
One I never used, but I always saw others doing was the Murlocs. These guys just seem weird. There's some weirdos.
There's a lot you have to understand to use more. Like it feels like the one where you have to like play a couple times. You're like, oh, now I actually get it. But it's essentially you get that guy that like if it sits in the hand and you play a Murloc, then it gets plus things. Yeah. And then the whole goal is to just spawn like either spawn poison guys from your hand or spawn the big like crazy buff guy.
Don't erase it. You fucking lie. I knew you were gonna do it.
I know there was other cards that like whenever this card attack gives +4 to the card in hand. Mm-hmm. So I saw that it was about like indirectly adding effects to other Murloc cards. Yeah, which is just too much work for me.
Well, they were very active because they're all about spellcasting. Murloc was one of the only card types that I ended up playing where I was always going to like the last couple of seconds of the fucking timer, and I was just like fuck. I'm like just trying to calculate, do my chess moves in my head, like okay, if I do this and then I can move this over here, because they're interesting because they're all about the spells and how they interact with everyone else and stuff. So you have like guys that it's like because they're all temporary, but they're free.
Oh, you're talking about Naga.
You're talking about Nagas right now. Yeah. You're talking about Nagas, not Murlocs.
Yeah.
Oh, Murlocs are the fish people. Nagas are the snake.
Murlocs are the venom ones, the ones that have every one of them with venom. But that's good. No, keep going about Naga. Yeah, Naga, you have to.
Yeah, so we're talking about Nagas now.
That's good. We're good. Keep going.
No, I like Nagas a lot too. Like they just do so many stacking crazy bullshit, and there's some cards that are like make the first effect spell permanent this turn bullshit that you can do.
And if you make them gold, then it makes the next 2. And so what I would always do is that I had one that gives you +2, +5, and gives you stealth, and I would put it on one of the Nagas that said. If you put it on it, you get a copy. But I had that gold too, so it gave me 2 copies. So I got to make another stealth. Or I would be like, I need everyone to have divine shield. So I just fucking gave everyone divine shield permanently. I'm like, these guys are insane. And then I got second place.
It's that's the one that like when they introduced that I think only like 3 months ago or 4 months ago, Naga, and that's the one where I'm like, okay, this no longer feels like a auto battler. Like this now feels more like Hearthstone. It's like, oh my goodness, I do not have enough time, or APM.
It definitely is a very it's the most unique out of all of them. I think there's another one that's pretty unique, but we'll talk about that in a second.
I think the demons are unique.
They have their own like they're pretty standard though. Like there's less crazy stuff to do. You just kind of have to get it and then get to level 6 and consume minions, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I love consuming minions in the tavern.
It is difficult to get to level 6 with demons because a lot of the cards hurt you. Yeah, so it's like, oh boy, I'm sweating by my brow right now. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm a seppuku on accident.
And with demons, there's a build I like running sometimes, which is you have the guy who gives you divine shields, right? Yeah. Then you have the death rattle one that like triggers death rattles twice minion, and then there's a minion that's like give your health to the other minions.
Dude, the red guy.
Yeah.
So good.
So if you can, essentially what you do is you play out the whole match. getting all these random death rattle things, and then so you can get to level 6, and then once you have the consume guy and these death rattle trigger effects, you have like all these like really beefy demons, but with a whole bunch of barriers, right? Or
Divine shields.
Yeah, divine shields, and that's a really cool one. Or I don't know if you've ever done this, but like the guy that like sends sparks everywhere or whatever, like like you kill like the top minion. So what you can do is you put him first in your lineup, and then you have the divine shield, the minion that gives divine shields right after it. So if he attacks, all the opponent's divine shields disappear, and then you get divine shields afterwards. And then once you're doing that, you're just having anyway. That's what I like to call and then you just have minions that are venomous, or like minions that like kill things, like even though they're super low health. And then once you're there, you're like, oh, I've completely ruined someone's like really good build, because now it's no longer about getting really beefy guys, because I have divine shield and venomous, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Pirates, I never use those.
Do you know what the strategy for pirates is?
I usually, I assume, because this is what I always did, is you play for a little while, you get to like tier 4, you give up, but you have so much money and stuff that you're like, well, I can just pivot right now. Like that's the pirates are the only ones that I was ever able to successfully pivot away from, and that's always
what
I
bad strategy actually. But the guy who like does like when it hits, it damages people beside it.
Oh yeah,
that's the guy. That's all pirates is. It's like get that guy to under attack.
No, that's bullshit though, because sometimes in my fucking pig build, I would just bring that guy into the party. I'm like, you're with us. And I would just give him blood rocks. I'm like, you're with us, partner. And he's like, yo, Horg, let's go shoot them fish people over there.
Or I guess, okay, there is one more thing with pirates. It's the gold. Like, there's one that like give +1 for like when you get gold, give +1/+1. And so that's how you get really beefy guys. But that's it. Okay, enough of my educational talk. Continue, Phil.
All right, next one. I don't know the actual name of these guys. I wrote down bristle pigs, but I don't think that's it. Bristle boars.
Yeah,
dude, these guys are my favorite.
Yes, they're the best.
These pigs are so funny.
Best.
They're so strong. They have such great synergy with themselves. They're so good. I love the pigs.
They're fucking busted. They need to nerf the shit out of these things, because every single match I played, I would go, I guess I'm doing pigs, and then I would look, and there would be 4 other people doing pigs, and I'm like, I hope there's not a limited pool. I have no idea if there is, because I never really had a problem with it.
There's a limited pool. There's less chance. If other people get stuff, there's less chance. So, but if you get like if you get there first, if you get like the good ones first, then they're just gonna have really crap builds. So that's probably what happens.
It makes sense, because I don't know. I just seem to always be doing good in this game, and it was because I was using those pigs, and everyone was using the pigs, but I just seemed to know how to do it better somehow. I don't know.
You got a little bit lucky, and you're probably a little more proactive about going up and well, if from what you said in the beginning, if you're getting triples, right, way more triples than other people are, then you're going to get better cards. Yeah,
I was super interested in getting triples, and I was never afraid to just sell them off to towards my fucking goals of stuff. Which brings me to the next one, which Philip erased for some reason and didn't even include, but the elementals.
What is that? I don't think that's in the actual game.
It is elementals. Yeah.
Elementals, dude.
Never saw it.
They're also a lot of work sometimes.
And got first place. Mm-hmm. Yes, they are very. When I was talking about Naga being the other one that made me super proactive and constantly staring at my screen, the elementals did as well, but for a different reason. And it is because they synergize with how many you play. So you have one slot that you're constantly selling and putting another one down and selling and putting another one down and selling, putting another one down. Because there's one guy. He's so good. This is the only unit that I've ever bought multiple of them and golded. I had 3 gold of this guy at one point. This is when I got the first place, I think, is when every time you buy and play an elemental, or not buy, just play. Every time you play an elemental card, he gets +1 attack. No matter if he was on the field or not, forever. Even if you just bought him. And so he gets so fucking insanely strong towards the end. And all of these elementals, there's so many that you can chain. There's one elemental that I would buy all the time anyways, and there's an elemental, I think he's a tier 1. And whenever you sell him, he spawns a 2/2 elemental. So he essentially sells for 2, right? Which I would just buy him, just like you were saying, just to have something to sell later on. But whenever you do that, if you do end up doing elementals, that makes that guy so strong in the mid game. And there are so many awesome elementals that are in this game, where there's one that says, every time I think it's every time it dies, all elementals in the tavern from the rest of the game get plus like
That's
2
the
plus
card.
3 or
That's
whatever.
the card that
and
wins you. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! And that's the in the deck
Yeah.
that I was playing for a while. I was using the undead guy that triggered death triggers twice. And the thing is that since they're in the tavern and you're selling and buying all the time to get all of your other guys, because some of the elementals get stronger when you re-roll, and some of the elementals say whenever you buy an elemental, the re-roll's free. So you fucking just start fucking through that fucking thing, dude. It's so fun. Like I'm just like, I feel like you're playing a slot machine at this point. Like this isn't even fun. This isn't an auto battler or fucking Hearthstone. This is fucking.
That's the secret. I think that's actually the secret of the whole game. It's the fact that there's just so many random stuff like that where you're like, oh my goodness, I like this loop. This gameplay loop has now caught me, and I'm just stuck doing this a million times.
Yeah. Well, every time I won, I sent Philip the screen, or not. I didn't. I sent him the screenshot. So there's 3 screenshots, and the one with the elemental build. Let me see. Yeah.
Did you actually track like what you played, or does it show you?
It shows you the last like 8 games, I think.
Oh,
and so I would just go back into that and just screenshot it on my phone. But this is the game that I won with the pyramid guy who stacks every time you don't use the +1/+1. And everyone, like I did have 3 here. I'll copy the image for you and send it to you. But I had 3 of that fucking one guy. This is what I looked at. This is how goofy, dumb motherfucking shit I had in my build. This is very goofy. But I was hauling serious ass.
That's awesome. Look at that. Look at those stats.
It's so fun. It is so fun. All right, anyways.
I
Philip, you
think
should
that
try
covers
it if you
all
keep
the
playing.
traits. Does anybody have any good me points left? Because I really didn't have much more for this card game or auto battler. I just figured we talk about it, what pops up, and I think we've covered a lot of the.
I think we got
points.
it. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun, like, do it while watching a TV show that's too long. You know what I mean? Like someone told you to watch like One Piece, like do it while playing this game. You know, like that stuff like that. There you go.
Yeah, definitely do it while watching One Piece. Watch something that you don't care about and don't want to absorb anything.
There it is.
Because you'll watch One Piece and you'll get 60% of the episode because every like minute you'd have to look down. And like, okay, so you just get like a cheese grater version.
It's kind of funny you bring that up, but iPhones, they do the screen and screen thing. I assume Androids have it too. And I would have YouTube playing in the corner. The top left corner has enough space that you can just throw a screen and screen up there. And so I'm watching. By the way, I haven't been watching the Scott the Wasp videos because I realize I don't like those. But I like the semi-unscripted ones where he is just standing by his shelves looking at his trash and showing off. And he's like, oh, man, I forgot I had this copy of Frogger 3D over here. And then he like opens it up. He's like, why do they make the fucking cases like this? Like, those are the Scott the Wasp shit that I watch.
Fuck yeah, dude. Frogger 3D, that's the game I'm going to pay my child $50 to beat.
God. And I'm like, yeah, Frogger 3D looks like dick. And as I'm building more bristle boars or whatever.
Yeah, as I'm looking
that's
over
how
at
I play the game.
Which, by the way, when I went on Super Pod Saga while I was there, it reminded Aaron to buy Cookie Clicker. So he.
Oh no!
Well, that's what this is. That's why you like elementals, because it's essentially just Cookie Clicker. You're just getting points. You're getting points for buying and selling.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back with our final words. The music plays. Boom, 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 boom. This is going way longer than I thought I was going to go for a card game with barely any notes.
Yeah, I had all of these weird people I wanted to talk about from YouTube, and I can't now.
I was going to say, we got an hour and a half in, and then we started talking about the game, and it seemed we actually had a lot more to talk about the game than we thought.
Yeah.
Especially Nave.
And we're back. Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I'll take these first final words. This is going to be a recommend. I think everyone should go out and give this game a shot. If we're not talking about any of the stupid industry, Blizzard, Activision, you know, all the craziness they're doing, you people don't have phones, Diablo 4, just pretend all that stuff didn't happen. And just, you can go play some Hearthstone and have some fun. Especially the Battlegrounds. I don't know about the regular game.
Just play Battlegrounds. You don't even need to play the regular game anymore. Yeah.
But I do got to asterisk this. I'm probably going to delete this game from my phone tomorrow or tonight before I even go to bed. Because while this game is fun, I don't need another auto battler in my life because I still play TFT with my wife, and I don't need another time suck, especially when I'm trying to beat another was like 33 more games this year. I just don't have time for this type of game, but it's a quality game. Especially if they keep updating it with new races and traits and stuff like that. All right,
You're gonna
Dave, you want these final words?
I might leave it on my phone for a little while. It depends on how much it starts distracting me because I still have Marvel Snap, and the good thing about Marvel Snap is that those games last 2 minutes. So these games, because I am either second place or third place or sixth place, but it still feels like I've sat there for 40 minutes because I'm like, maybe I'll get a good roll, maybe just one more spin, I don't know, maybe I'll get it, and I don't, and then I lose all over and over again. So it's like, I don't know. It's definitely really fun, and it was a lot. Even though I was saying way before, it's a lot less complex than Teamfight Tactics. There is complexity here in different ways. Like it's a lot less of the synergies between your cards, a lot more with what you can do with the smaller amount of synergies you have on the board itself. And the different races are a lot more varied than Teamfight Tactics, where everything kind of it blends together. When you're playing TFT, when you're playing this, it is very clear that each race is doing its own separate thing, and so it makes it easy from at a glance standpoint. Where if you're gonna be at work, let's say you're at your post office sorting packages and playing fucking your game at the same time, you can at a glance look down and be like, oh shit, undead, I'm probably not going to win that fight. And then I walk off and keep sorting packages, and then I hear, you did great out there, your minions really showed them. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm doing better than I thought I did. You know what I mean? But it's a recommend for people who need a time sink. But this, I don't know, man. These games that don't end are crack cocaine for me, like Cookie Clicker and Marvel Snap and stuff. So it's like, I need to be completing games at some point in my life.
Do you really need to finish games, though? Are games not meant to be enjoyed? We learned with Aragorn that you don't need the ending to enjoy the ride there.
I don't know. I can't articulate right now. I have to think about that. Catch me outside.
Lazero, final words.
Final words.
Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
These two said. So this, it seems like you both like the game, but the biggest problem is that it's just far too addicting. That's the biggest problem. Is like, the reason I'm getting rid of this game is because it's literally just going to consume my time, and I don't feel like it's being very productive. And I'm completely with you there. I think this is a game that's, if you have more than one game like this, it's a problem. And there is a point where you're like,
unless you play them at the same time, then it's taking up the same amount of time in your life. But as you jump from,
if you're really bored in life, it's a great. No, I think the game itself, like when I'm playing, especially like as the ranks go up, I think it gets more interesting for me because I actually get a little bit of the competitive edge back into it. Because if I don't get first, then I didn't win. Like that's what it becomes, if that makes sense. So that's probably the fun part. But I totally agree that I think it has this thing where, because you start seeing those connections, like it's really easy to get into, but you start seeing those like synergies, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna try this next game, right? Like I see people doing like battle cry synergies. It's not even like type anymore, and they're just doing like battle cry stuff, and I'm like, this is awesome. Let me try that next game, right? So like once you start getting those things, I think it's a little too consuming. The negative of it is that it brings you in too much. So I think deleting the game is a perfectly reasonable idea, Philip. So yeah, try this if one, you spend a lot of time watching really long TV shows, or two, you want to try a game like this, but you've been warned, I guess. Those are my final thoughts.
You know where I played the most of this, though, is walking my dog and my baby. Like while I walk my dog and baby, I'll just, in one hand, I'll be playing Hearthstone over here.
What if you fucking walk into traffic and then get hit by a Hummer?
Oh my goodness.
And explode?
Delete the game, Philip. Delete it.
Maybe.
That sounds very scary.
I live on base, so the traffic is like one car every 30 minutes or something will drive by me. And I walk to like, I don't know, the on-base commissary, which closes at 6 p.m. And I'm walking my dog at like 8 p.m. at night. So there's nobody there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is like, because I walk my dog occasionally and read, and that is sketchy. Because my dog has no discipline. It's like my dog has no discipline. My dog is walking me. Like she's choking herself out, throwing up because she's pulling so hard on her leash. No, I have a harness because she does choke herself out on the collar. But it's like, I just trust her. I'm like, please don't walk me into a tree, and I just read. But every now and then I'll step off a curb and I twist my ankle. I'm like, owie. Like maybe Crime and Punishment isn't this important as I go back to reading about Raskolnikov and how he feels about murder.
So dumb. All right. At this point, I want to thank Robert for coming back out from the ASAP network.
I want to thank you for having me on. I enjoyed the podcast happening before and that I was listening to and just laughing the first half. And then I feel we got into the Hearthstone a little bit. But I appreciate that at least I finally recommend something that you guys actually enjoyed. Because I feel like with the StarCraft music episode, it was kind of meh. You know what I mean? The StarCraft itself, you guys are kind of meh. Or was Age of Empires? I don't know. I felt like I was bringing you guys into new horizons, but I didn't feel like that energy, you know? And this time I really feel like I got Nave. You know, I got something that you enjoy.
Oh, yeah, we love card games.
There you go.
I love Age of Empires.
That's true. You actually did like Age of Empires. What was it was the StarCraft music. I think the StarCraft music episode that was a funny one. You were just like, what am I even listening to? That's good.
Yeah, the twang, but then all of a sudden it's a space opera, and then all of a sudden like, ooh.
Yeah.
All right. With that, thanks for listening to us this week, co-partners. Maybe next time we can all together. That's what the Murlocs say, right?
Oh, I thought he was Wololoing from Age of Empires. I was like, what are you doing, dude?
Oh, he's a Murloc.
I don't know. I thought it was that.
Bye.
See you.
See ya.
All right, you can end it now, Nave. You're the guy that pushes the button.
I've been playing Hearthstone. I'm playing
He's
the
playing
game.
the game.
Oh, you nerd.
We got
Sorry.
him. No.
Yeah, I'm playing Undead.